Welcome to today's commentary coverage of the Loop 110 at the Chicago Street Race for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It is almost time to go street racing for the first and only time on the NASCAR schedule for these top two series that are in downtown Chicago here this weekend. And I think this is going to be a fun weekend of events, a lot drier than what it was a season ago. This race, of course, was actually rain shortened a season ago as they got less than 25 laps worth of what you could call racing in and some slightly wet weather, which of course turned into a torrential downpour. This year's Xfinity race will go unsaturated, I guess is the word I want to think of here at the top of the moment. 50 lap race, a very short one here today for this NASCAR Xfinity Series race. The field has been set up based off qualifying earlier this morning. I had a full 50-minute practice session for the Xfinity Series as well, which took place in the late morning hours. So these guys are ready to go here today. We've got a full field for both the NASCAR Xfinity and NASCAR Cup Series races this weekend. In fact, more than 38 entries for this weekend's race. We had a couple drivers go home, and now we have cars on the racetrack here for the first time in race conditions this weekend. Already on the parade laps as the engines have fired for this NASCAR Xfinity Series race, so let's quickly get through the starting lineup for today's Loop 110. It'll be Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson on the front row for this one. SVG, the winner of the Cup race here in Chicago a year ago, and he's the winner of the last two Xfinity Series road course races. Outside of the front row is Kyle Larson, who is on the pole for the Cup race later on tomorrow. Connor Mosack for Junior Motorsports in the 88. A little slow in practice, but picked up in qualifying. He is third overall, starting the inside of row 2 with Ty Gibbs to his outside. In row number 3, it'll be Sam Mayer and John Hunter Nemechek. Row 4 for Parker Kligerman and Jesse Love. Chandler Smith and Cole Custer round out the top 10 in row 5. AJ Allmendinger and Parker Retzlaff in row 6. Austin Hill, Sammy Smith in row 7. With Joey Logano in the 15 car making his first Xfinity start of the season on the inside of row number 8. To his outside will be road course ringer Alex LeBay. Preston Pardus and Anthony Alfredo in row 9 with Austin Green and Riley Herbst in row 10. Leland Honeyman and Ryan Sieg starting in the back half of the field in row 11. Jeb Burt and Josh Bilicki in row number 12. Bilicki, one of the many drivers running double duty this weekend. Brendan Poole and Matt DiBenedetto in row 13. Ryan Ellis, Kyle Weatherman in row 14. Blaine Perkins and Josh Williams in row 15. Daniel Suarez, another Cup regular in the field, starting deep in row number 16 on the inside with Brandon Jones to his outside. In row number 17 will be Andre Castro and Jeremy Clements. Kyle Sieg with Justin Allgaier in row 18. And rounding out the field of row 19 will be Sheldon Creed and Sage Karam. Allgaier, Creed, and Karam starting deep in the field because they did not qualify earlier today following crashes or at least significant enough contact with the wall or tire barriers in practice that they resulted in having to repair their cars and or go to backup cars for the start of the race, so no qualifying laps for them earlier this morning. And less on-track activity time as well. Allgaier crashed in the first few laps of practice nonetheless. Got in an incident down in turn number 4 and got clobbered from behind by a driver who did not make today's race due to that crash. Didn't have a backup car to participate in qualifying with. That was Alan Day, who was one of the road course ringers, one of the international drivers coming in for this weekend's event. Lights are on as of right now, still again in the early going of our parade laps for this race, so minutes away from the drop of the green flag. Turn it over to the NBC booth for the time being. If you're wondering where you can watch the race visually, both today and tomorrow for the Cup and Xfinity races, all on your local NBC affiliate.
Second time in 2024. Last time he was unbeaten, won the race.
Dave, as we look at the next page, the starting lineup, Parker Retzlaff qualified his car 12. The team was floored when I talked to them. With the field as deep as it is, that effort speaks to how much more confident Parker has gotten on these type of courses, and he shined in front of his sponsor, Funkaway. They're based right up the road in Waukegan, Illinois. Marty, that's just 30 miles from the racetrack.
Jim at just 11 points out of the playoffs. Ryan Sieg could use a good day. Sieg told me lately we've been so much more consistent with our finishes, and with 9 races left in the regular season, that needs to continue to be our focus. There is a path for us to the playoffs by continuing that trend. And it is rare that you see a final page of the starting lineup like this one. 34 overall Xfinity Series wins, 4 on road courses. Talk about a stacked back end of the field. They won't be there for long. Going to be fun to watch this entire group make their way to the front of the field. Now let's head back up to the gentleman who will call the action this afternoon, Rick Allen and Steve Letarte.
Thanks, Marty. And just enjoying these 2x2 lines coming back around this course as we look at playoff standings. And only 6 drivers up to this point have won to lock themselves into the championship and the playoffs.
I think today we're depth of the field, the stacked field that we have. Remember, a win puts your name in yellow, but I don't think it's ever been tougher with the names we have in this field. So therefore, those points I mentioned, only 11 separating the guy in and the guy out. We're going to have points at the end of the stages in a quick 50-lap race.
All right, Steve, a little bit different, obviously, with the race analysis here because we're talking about street racing.
Street racing, I think, only makes it more intense. 15-lap first and second stage, a 20-lap final stage. You can run around 30 laps on fuel, so you only need one pit stop. The real question is, if you do pit 30 laps from the finish, will your Goodyear tires have the grip required in the closing laps when we know it's going to be elbows up, pushing and shoving? We've seen it here. Even in the shortened race last year, they were not afraid to lean on each other.
How about Shane Van Gisbergen? He's won the last 2 road courses. Can he make it 3 in a row?
I think so. He's my pick.
A year ago, and he's proven that skill, as you mentioned, winning the last 2 road courses. He is without a doubt the favorite. But you said it a few times over the course of practice today. I really believe Kyle Larson, why he doesn't say it, his actions tell me that he has heard enough about SVG. He's here to get laps, but if he can beat the guy who won here last year in the Cup Series, that'd be a good way to end the day.
Let's listen into the 2 radio, a little pep talk before the green flash.
Coming out for a 3-4 city, so keep our heads on straight.
Jesse will start in the 8th position. He's on the outside of row 4. We're going to keep our eye on that as well as far as when they can change lanes. Obviously, the start here, making that turn through 12, and then also once they get onto the front stretch, that's when they can start moving left and right. Marty.
Rick chatted with Cole Custer, the winner here in Chicago on the streets last year. I said, what do you think you have for today? He said, honestly, I don't know. He said, practice was so weird to me. He said, it was so truncated with all the wrecks on the track that I never felt like I got a clean lap, but I didn't get a really good read on my car. He said, the one thing that worries me is those cars come down pit road to get through the first few laps, Kim, we'll be good, and we'll have a car that can contend for a second straight win.
Marty, Chandler Smith qualified top 10 for today's race, and crew chief Jeff Mendering told me just getting through practicing qualifying unscathed was more stressful than he thinks the race is going to be this afternoon. He also said Chandler's ability at road and street courses is noticeably improving, and a top 10 would be a good day for them. But Dave, a top 5, they would consider that a win for this team.
Oh, any driver would love that, Kim, including Riley Hurts, who the playoffs on points, they would love to secure that with a win, and here would be just as good as any other place. Riley's car at qualifying 20th, as I mentioned, he told me I was way too conservative. Well, guess what? His car's in one piece. It's in good shape, and he can go forward from here.
So, Steve, now you have what you had mentioned earlier, maybe 2 of the best that are leading this field. As an Xfinity Series regular, you want to be up there contesting with them because this backdrop is beautiful. You want to say, I've been able to win at Chicago, win on the streets of Chicago. How do they go about moving up?
Well, I think that the real key is, first, don't make a mistake. I mean, practice today was chaos with people making their own mistakes. These aren't cars getting into one another. These are cars trying to navigate this very tough circuit on their own. So as much as you don't want to think it's a game of give and take, only being 50 laps, it really is going to be that. There are going to be times to contest, then there's going to be other times to concede. Now, when those times are, we'll only know with who goes to victory lane and who decides wrong. I look at it like this. It's just, the other issue is, with the pack now all condensed, if you have an issue, you could get into someone else's issue. If you make contact with the wall, you lose control. This place narrows up in a hurry. It can be blocked. We've seen it blocked a couple times already.
Yeah, we have seen it be bumper-to-bumper traffic here, like we've seen in Chicago before, but never at 140 miles an hour is what we're about to see as these cars make their way down into turn 6, getting ready to come back around through the loop there with Congress Plaza.
So you mentioned a little bit, Rick. So the restart area where they'll start this race is actually before turn 12. It's between 11 and 12 down a short straightaway. And it's very interesting because now they start right here at lane. If you're on the inside, you have to stay on the inside. If you're on the outside, you have to stay on the outside. And that corner is going to really want you to change lanes. But you have to remain that way all the way to this white line right here, which is at the start of pit lane. The reason I point it out is because in a racetrack with everything being new, even this is different.
Yeah.
We don't see this on other tracks. So that's going to be really easy to just forget. You can see who can kind of stay in their lane to start this race.
It's been a year since NASCAR has been on the streets of Chicago, and you can hear the fans in the background. They're excited for the start of this. And Gisbergen and Larson make up row number 1. Then it's Connor Mozak and Ty Gibbs in row 2. Up turn 11. And
Pace car will be headed to pit road, and the field enters the Geico restart zone. Shane Van Gisbergen about to lead the field to the green in the second ever NASCAR Xfinity Series race in downtown Chicago in the streets. Green flag is in the air. We're underway for this 50-lap sprint of a race, as SVG easily leads the field down into turns 1 and 2. Great initial start. Larson in second, directly behind him. Side by side for third as Gibbs overtakes Mosak on the inside lane as they race now for turn 2. Quickly trying to make a pass for the lead is Larson on the opening lap, not wasting any time. Doesn't want SVG to get away. Side by side now in between turns 2 and 3. Very fast, high-speed, right-handed on-throttle corner through turn 3 as Larson stays to the bottom underneath SVG. Van Gisbergen is going to try his patented crossover move, but is in a too tight of a corner to try to make that happen. Larson's clear off of turn 5 for the lead. A race into a harsh braking zone on a big, long, on-throttle straightaway from turn 5 to turn 6. Huge passing opportunity for Van Gisbergen, already underneath Larson, and passes him back for the lead. Larson slid the rear tires, getting back to the throttle on the exit of the corner, and he may lose second to Ty Gibbs. Gibbs will be on the outside of turn 7, though, and Larson's able to hold on. Off of turn 8, and then into 9 and 10 around the fountain. Single file in the top portion of the field now as they get organized. That slight little movement of Larson getting loose off the exit of turn 6, Gibbs getting underneath him, had to battle quickly for the next corner, allowed for SVG to get out to a few extra car length lead now over the 17 of Larson. 3 favorites for the race, at least in my opinion. The heavy favorites all starting at the front of the field. First, second, and fourth, and then Gibbs obviously getting by Mosak for third on the initial start. Lap 1 already in the book. Shane Van Gisbergen from the pole will lead the opening lap, picking up where he left off, winning the last 2 road course races for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Those took place back in the month of June, early month of June, at both Sonoma and Portland. Portland first, then Sonoma second. Led the most laps at Sonoma en route to his win there. Only led a few laps, getting the win late at Portland, getting by Justin Allgaier, one of those late race restarts in the final 5 laps. Caution free in the early going of this one. 1 lap in. Again, 15, 15, and 20 are the stage splits in today's race. They will not have to pit for fuel purposes at all during any stage, so may see some green flag stops before the end of the stage. Stages do close pit road with 2 to go when the race leader gets to the start-finish line, so as long as we don't get down to 2 to go in the stage, pit stops can be made under green. And that will definitely be interesting on the strategy side of things as to when these drivers will make a pit stop. I wouldn't be surprised if most of them make it here before the end of stage 1, or maybe during the stage 1 break and then not pit again the rest of the race. They could stretch the fuel window that far if they so choose, and if we get enough cautions to allow these teams to save fuel as well. AJ Allmendinger starting in the back half of the top 10, one of the usual threats on road courses as well. Not as good, at least this season, compared to his teammate Van Gisbergen. 2 wins for SVG, 0 still for Allmendinger in the summer months. Larson again looking for the lead, down into turn 1, lap 3. SVG almost tags the wall off the exit of the corner on the top lane. Still door to door, though. He doesn't allow Larson to clear. Outbreaks Larson into turn 2, and the 97 again stays out in front. Good battle for the lead. Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson putting on a show here in these early laps. Again, Larson trying to attack in turn 3. Same spot he cleared on the opening lap of the race on Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen got him back in turn 6. So through turn 4, Larson clear, stays clear off 5. Into turn 6, we'll see if he can hold off SVG again. This time, Larson brakes a lot later than he did on the opening lap. Definitely tell he outbroke the 97 car. 97 trying to get him more towards corner exit and build momentum up for following corners. But Larson holds on to the lead, and we'll see if he can hold on all the way back to the start-finish line to officially lead his first lap of the race. No official lead change in this one yet, despite the fact that they battled back and forth for the lead on the opening lap. Larson definitely sliding the rear tires in the turns 9 and 10 right around the fountain. A big, wide left-handed turn. The most oval-like turn on the circuit. In a 12-turn road course. They're just coming off of turn 12. Larson will lead his first lap of the day. SVG going to try to stay in the draft. Very fast speeds on this racetrack, about 100 miles an hour before breaking into turn 1. Fastest we saw the Cup cars on track in practice today, over 140 miles per hour. That was usually in that stretch of straightaway between turns 5 and 6. That one a little bit longer than the front straightaway. Again, 15 laps in the opening stage, not a lot of time to blink. Starting deep in the field definitely makes it very difficult in what is more than likely just a one pit stop race. Van Gisbergen back to the inside of Larson. It actually is going to be the outside lane. It was inside in turn 5. He'll be outside of turn 6. He'll be able to arc the corner off a lot better than Larson. That's what he's trying to do here. Get a straight line exit. Great run by SVG off of turn 6 into 7. Side by side now into turn 7. 97 on the bottom. Larson on the top. A little bit of contact made. It's one of the tightest turns on the racetrack. Definitely difficult to go side by side in there, and both of them at least keep it off the wall and continue the battle on. Great racing here from the get-go in Chicago. And Ty Gibbs just kind of waiting behind both of them, keeping up with them on pace. Top 3 still within a second of each other at the front of the field. Mosak back and forth, not slouching either, only a second and a half back and forth. So Van Gisbergen leads the first 2 laps with Larson right hot on his heels. Larson leads the next 2 laps with SVG hot on his heels. Commercial break on NBC for the first time. So again, commercial break on NBC for the first time today. Again, Kyle Larson is your race leader. Shane Van Gisbergen second. Ty Gibbs third. Connor Mosak fourth. Jesse Love is fifth. Cole Custer 6th. Sam Mayer 7th. Chandler Smith 8th. AJ Allmendinger 9th. Sammy Smith 10th. 11th is Austin Hill. Parker Retzlaff in 12th. Joey Logano 13th. Alex LeBay 14th. Riley Herbst 15th. Austin Green 16th. Sheldon Creed 17th. 18th for Anthony Alfredo. Jeb Burton 19th. And Parker Kligerman is 20th. Preston Partisan 21st. Leland Honeyman 22nd. John Henry Nemechek 23rd. Josh Balicki 24th. Josh Williams 25th. 26th is Brendan Poole. Brandon Jones 27th. Matt DiBenedetto 28th. Justin Allgaier, only up to 29th. Jeremy Clements in 30th. Daniel Suarez 31st. Kyle Weatherman 32nd. Ryan Sieg 33rd. Ryan Ellis is 34th. Sage Karam 35th. Andre Castro 36th. Kyle Sieg 37th. And Blaine Perkins did not make a lap at the start of this race. He did not complete lap 1. He had to pull into the pits early. A mechanical issue. He is 5 laps down and off the racetrack. So he rounds out the 38 car field here today. Kyle Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen 1 and 2, and they're the only 2 to lead any laps. Again, SVG led the first 2 from the pole. Larson has led the next 3. 5 laps complete. We'll take our first ad break in the early going of the Loop 110 at Chicago's Street Course event here for the NASCAR Xfinity Series on KRC. I'll let you listen into more of the on-air coverage, radio-style broadcast for this weekend's Xfinity and Cup Series events on the NBC telecast crew. Dylan Welsh and Dave Moody Mike Bagley are the 2 on-track reporters in separate locations spread it around the racetrack. And Jeff Burton also out of the booth and on the racetrack as a part of that radio style broadcast. And then Rick Allen and Steve Letarte are the two in the booth this weekend. Usual pit reporters are at the track as well. Marty Snyder, Dave Burns, and Kim Kuhn to give you pit road updates, interviews from drivers out of the infield care center if any incidences happen this weekend. Shane Van Gisbergen during the commercial break has retaken the race lead away from Kyle Larson as they continue to go back and forth on this racetrack. Two of the favorites today, probably going to be two of the favorites tomorrow too. I wouldn't be surprised. It's going to be fun to watch them battle over the next 24 hours in both races. This one a little more important for SVG than Larson, though. Again, Shane Van Gisbergen running for points in the Xfinity Series. Larson is not. With these wins, SVG definitely racking up some playoff points here. See how much more that's going to end up helping him once the playoffs begin.
Some tires, right side tires up a little bit. Entering 12.
Yeah, just a bit too much entry speed locks it right. Front up he slides, and look at SVG. Does driver's right. He knows that's defendable down in turn one. He kind of gets momentum to driver's left, gets the preferred line through turn one. Kyle Larson doesn't get seen. Sit in there side by side. These two are putting an absolute shit for the fans because then Larson goes, I'm going to cross you over, trying to work drivers outside in turn two. Eventually had to give up the position. But what a race between the two. And then right here, you see the respect between Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson. Tim, how about the 81 of Chandler Smith?
Yeah, disaster for them. Take a listen to the radio before he made it to pit road.
Engine's blowing up. Blowing up. Hello, do I need to go there or not?
Down the mountain right now.
No, no, garbage is what it is.
And you saw that spin by the 38. No caution out. Back to Chandler Smith, though. He said the oil temp had reached over 300. I specifically asked crew chief Jeff Mendering if there was concern after we saw an engine change on the 20, an engine change on the 18. But after practice, he said there was enough concern. He made some phone calls. So this is the third JGR engine issue we've seen this weekend.
See some debris on the racetrack. That's on Columbus Drive, so the caution has come out.
Yeah, I mean, rare do we see engine issues in three out of the same organization. You can see the frustrations. We see damage on the 26. Sage Karam also spent a long day for those guys on the 26 team. They had an issue in practice, and now another bit of an issue. We have 38. It's an odd spot, kind of turn three. It's defined as a corner, but it's kind of just more of a kink in the straightaway. Now behind him, you see a long walk up the right front, right there. Sieg's car. And then we showed you Karen with a flat tire.
All right, Steve. Strategy-wise, only 8 laps. We're on lap 8 here. A little bit too early as far as fuel's concerned?
It really is. I mean, I think the goal of this entire thing is to only pit once. There are a couple different ways you consume this. You could pit now to keep more fuel in the car. And if you're in the back half of the field, that seems to make sense. But if we focus on the leaders, they're getting one trip down pit road. Now, when that trip comes is going to be the magic question. And I can make a good argument for 2 or 3 different time frames. But right now, the biggest thing is let your driver catch your breath. How's our car? What do I need? Can I help you? It has been quite the start to this race.
We'll see if anybody comes onto pit road here. AJ Allmendinger running in the 8th spot right now. On board with him. This will be the opportunity. They come back by right here to enter pit road. And the top 2 are staying out on the racetrack. NASCAR racing in the streets of Chicago. Such a rich history of great sports teams. And NASCAR adding their name to that list.
So under a commercial break again, our first caution of the race has come out. Debris laying on that long straightaway Columbus Drive in between turns 5 and 6. Big piece of sheet metal was laying right in the middle of the racing line. And not sure exactly what the debris had come off of, but there was damage to the 26 car of Sage Karam. It looked like he had a flat right front or maybe some sort of suspension problems, and maybe contact, which led into that. Developing story with Chandler Smith blowing an engine on lap 5. He is going to be done for the day. Blaine Perkins has returned to the racetrack after he had went to the garage. Well, not the garage, but he went down pit road on the opening lap of the race. Didn't even complete a lap. He is now back out on the racetrack, but he is currently 4 laps down. He was 5 laps down, but he'll get the free pass with this caution coming out, so now he's down to 4 down. And he will pass Chandler Smith in the running order. So it will end up being a last place finish here for Chandler Smith, who has an engine failure. Engine change for John Hunter Nemechek earlier in the day. Same for Sheldon Creed. No engine change, though, for the third JGR car of Chandler Smith. And Ty Gibbs hasn't had one yet either, so we'll keep an eye on him as this race progresses. But again, this is our first caution during this NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Chicago. Mark Witkowski, Silent Al Scribe, D. Dickens, Steve Reed, Tim Brown, Chris Davis, Wade Zielinski, thanks for tuning in, everybody. JoJo, Dan Bowers. Didn't shout any of you guys out yet, so I wanted to make sure to do so. I see you in the chat. Thanks for watching yet again. Then we'll go live for tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series race at Chicago at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, late tomorrow afternoon. As far as today's race goes, you can vote for who you think will win, per usual, in the chat poll. And we close these polls at the end of Stage 2 every race. Asked you who would win the Chicago Street Course race. Your voting options are between Shane Van Gisbergen, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, or somebody other than those three. Shane Van Gisbergen leading the poll with 51% right now. Kyle Larson at 34%. Ty Gibbs only 4% of the votes in third place currently, and then other at 10%. So those are the top 3 in the running order here in the early going to this race as well. And definitely the 3 favorites for the race win. How many laps in the stages today? 15, 15, and 20. So 15 laps in stage 1. Going to have about 5 or so laps to go in the restart in this first stage. Stage 2 will be 15 laps, 20 laps in stage 3. Interested to see when we will have pit stops. Again, it's only a one-stop race, so it makes it interesting in the sense of when do you come to pit road? Do you want to pit under caution, put yourself at the back and restart? Do you want to do it under green flag conditions? Is it going to be green flag before the end of stage 1, or is it going to be green flag in the middle of stage 2? Because the fuel window is about 35 to 40 laps, so it is going to be a very interesting development as to when these pit stops are going to take place, but definitely not happening under this caution in the middle going to stage 1. A little too early and still a little outside that fuel window. Maybe some drivers at the very tail end of the field will pit, but nobody in the top 2/3 of the field is going to hit pit road. Justin Allgaier, after starting deep in that backup car, is up to 26. Brandon Jones, who qualified pretty poorly, is back at 25th place. Some of the biggest movers from the very tail end of the field today. Daniel Suarez, who started 31st, is still back at 33rd. I think he just came to pit road as well to top off on fuel. And Perkins, by the way, lost 4 laps on the initial start, not 5, so his free pass, he's gone from 4 down to 3 down. And honestly, if we get enough cautions, knowing we're guaranteed 2 more yellows, could get back on them likely just because we're not going to see a lot of lap traffic, really any lap traffic today with how short the stages are, so that could be beneficial for him. Derek Newton also, thanks for tuning in. Very lengthy commercial break here. Caution's pretty long usually on road courses, though. Just because of the long laps made under yellow. You don't lose too many laps under caution because of that. So I guess it all kind of somewhat evens out in the end. Not like some of those longer road courses like a Coda or Road America either, so those would be a little longer. I don't want to slide another ad break this early into the race. So we're going to keep it right here. Just wait it out for the next restart. They are back from the commercial break now. And the race is on your local NBC affiliate if you're wondering where you can watch visually. Bubba Davis, also welcome to the stream. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. Our goal is to get to 100 likes. We did get to our goal of 50 likes during the live commentary stream earlier this afternoon for NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying. Field currently working into turn 10. About to go green this time by as the lights are out on the pace car. And we'll be back to Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson on the front row with SVG on the inside lane, Larson on the outside. Be inside of turn 12, obviously, and then down into turn 1. He's got to make sure he pulls clear, otherwise he'll be on the top. Better for the launch zone with where the restart is located. Waited to the very end of the restart zone to get going. Green flag back in the air. SVG easily clear. Pulls up. Has the ability to do so before the start-finish line. But Larson pulls right back to his inside. What a bold move by Larson, carrying a ton of speed into turn 1, but he goes wide, and SVG is going to get right back around him. I thought he was coming in pretty hot, considering that SVG had him cleared. Larson still beat him into turn 1, only for Van Gisbergen to get back around him off the exit of the corner. Side by side for second again between Ty Gibbs and Connor Mosack through turn 3. Gibbs on the inside, outside is Mosack. Larson trying to power by on the outside through turn 4. Very tight corner to make the pass. A little bit of contact made between him and SVG, and now they drag race off turn 5 into turn 6. What a battle these two are putting on in the early going. 5 laps to go in stage 1. A playoff point on the line here for SVG. He'll concede the position on corner entry. Try to get Larson on corner exit through turn 7. He tried this earlier, but turn 7 is just too tight to try to make that move. So he's not going to go side by side this time. And I'll have to find another corner to make the pass. What a great battle these two have had with each other. In the first stage, we've only gone probably, 7, 8 green flag laps, and these two have changed the lead between each other 4 times already. Just these two alone. You don't usually see this kind of passing on a road course or a street course for that matter, but these guys are doing a great job. Fairly clean most of the way through. A little bit of contact, but it's just because of how tight the racetrack is. Especially with these big, heavy stock cars. So Larson leads the first lap following the restart. Shane Van Gisbergen right behind him. A little bit of contact further back, which has more than likely spun the 92 of... who's in the 92 car this weekend? I wanted to say Josh Williams, but that was last year. Josh Balicki, the other Josh. Josh Balicki going around in turn 12. Oddly enough, it was off the front bumper of Josh Williams. So, funny how that works out. It's his old ride. Seen some Cup regulars. Ross Chastain's drove in that 92 car several times this year. Jeremy Clements is on pit road with severe damage to the front of his race car. Not sure where that took place at, and I would imagine if that was into a back of another car, we're going to see somebody on the racetrack with a pretty severely damaged back bumper. So that was definitely some heavy damage to the front bumper of the 51. He's on pit road, and his pit crew goes to work on it, trying to make some quick repairs. Sheldon Creed, biggest mover in this race, already up 25 positions from the start. Some of that is because of the back half of the field pitting, but he started deep after an engine change prior to the race today. He is up to 13th after starting in the last row. Started 37 today. Now, although Larson was able to pass SVG, he's only got about a car length, maybe a car length and a half lead on the front stretch. 3 to go in stage 1 at the line that time by.
Remember, points to they experience and laps. Switching Kyle Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen battle for the lead. Normally, the driver gets the lead. He likes to get out and dodge and get away. The problem is, either it's not difficult to shift each other. For Justin Allgaier as he comes to pit road, Dave.
Mike, the plan was to pit this time when he tried to get to pit road, the car spun on him. Justin told me earlier today if we have some pace in the 7, starting in the back, in a backup car, we will do some strategy plays. And so that's what they're doing here. He was running 24th before the spin and come to pit lane.
The merits of shifting Creed. Nobody else hit him, and Hurt stayed out of the tire barrier. He's won right in the front of the top 10, and now trying to find a clean place to Hurt back into traffic.
You mentioned off the nose of Sheldon Creed. Remember Sheldon Creed, John Hunter Nemechek? They started at the back of the field, and already they've made it up into the teens, where Sheldon Creed running in the 13th spot. Riley Herbst was in 11th before he got turned. Let's take another look at what happens.
This is a couple turn. Oh, there you go. So that is exiting turn 2. The 98 kind of runs Creed into the wall. And I don't think Creed loves this at all, because the 98 was absolutely not clear. He needed to leave Creed an outside lane. And Creed comes down in here and says, if you're going to junk my day, I'm going to junk your day. Sends the 98 into turn 4. Luckily, 98 doesn't get into the tires. And then we heard the 7 coming to pit road. It's a very tough pit road entry. And you see, really, no harm, no foul. The driver coming just doesn't know he's pitting. It's a real hard right-hand corner. You see contact of the nose. I want to say that was the 39. Couldn't quite make out the number. Yeah, yep. 39. There you go. So he gets spun around. A strategy call by the 7. They're outside their pit window, but remember, had an accident, had to find something to do. Pit now and see if you can get lucky with yellows while these two continue to battle up front, Mike.
Here they come out of 5. Again, battle for the lead. Larson had gotten away by about 4 or 5 car lengths. SBG right on his back bumper. Racing down Columbus Drive, heading into turn 6. The left-hander. Larson, SBG, 2-car breakaway. SBG going to go long enough, find the room he needed to make that pass.
Only 2 laps to go before the end of this stage. You do not want to give up track position. You can see they've driven away third place Ty Gibbs. And he is driven away from Connor Bozak. But this battle is so much fun. Shane is trying to find the opening. Where is the 17-car weak? Where can I take advantage? Right there, you can see he's got great center of the corner speed.
2 car lengths separate the 2 when they come to turn 12 and back on the front stretch. It'll be one more time around for the top 2.
Final lap, stage 1. Just crossing the start-finish line. Larson trying to keep his lead and win this opening stage. Shane Van Gisbergen looking for yet another playoff point, as he is racing full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this season. Larson obviously is not. He's racing for Cup points and actually is currently the points leader on the Cup Series side. Trying to stay in the draft. Long on-throttle point through turn 4 and 5 for that matter by SVG, closing in immensely on the back bumper of Larson. Now, Larson's going to give him the outside, but he doesn't want to give up the bottom. SVG pushing hard on that outside lane. He's going to stay door-to-door with Larson. He wants to be on the inside into the next side of the racetrack, which will be on the right-hander for turn 7. SVG out in front, clears Larson through first stage on a last lap pass. Around the fountain, right-handers coming up through 10, 11, and 12. Shane Van Gisbergen pulling away slightly through turn 11. And now into turn 12, it'll be Shane Van Gisbergen winning stage 1 with a last lap pass with a half a lap to go in the first stage. And that's another crucial playoff point for when the playoffs begin for that 97 team. Kyle Larson second in stage 1, Ty Gibbs third, Connor Mosack fourth, and Cole Custer fifth. AJ Allmendinger sixth, Jesse Love seventh, Austin Hill eighth, Sam Mayer ninth, and Parker Kligerman rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position in those top 10 slots. A lot of Chevys up there, let me tell you. 8 Chevys, 1 Toyota, 1 Ford in the top 10 receiving stage points at the start of the race today. Of course, a lot more Chevys in the Xfinity Series field compared to any other manufacturer, but still impressive to say the least. So that will get us to the end of the first stage. It'll be interesting to see if we will have pit stops during the stage break or not. But stay tuned. You're listening live on KRC to the Loop 110 at the Chicago Street Course for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Second stage win of the year for Shane Van Gisbergen. His first was at Sonoma, where he ended up winning last. He won the first stage of that race after qualifying on the pole as well. It's amazing that the 97 and 17 traded the lead as many times as they did with one another. 5 lead changes in the first stage of this race between Van Gisbergen and Larson alone. All during green flag action. Obviously, no pit stops have been had yet. And even on that initial restart, which allowed for one of those 4 passes, again, the rest were under green on non-restarts. Great battle back and forth, and that's really about as good as road course racing can get. And I hope those two stay up at the front all day, because I want more. I'm sure you guys, the fans, probably want more of that action too. Definitely the best in the field. It's cool that they both started on the front row in this one as well. Won't be starting towards the front in tomorrow's race. On the Cup Series side of things, I'm thinking about taking Van Gisbergen into the Cup race tomorrow as well. I haven't decided yet. It's definitely between Larson and Van Gisbergen. I took SVG in this race because he's got more experience in the Xfinity cars than Larson, which is another reason why I'm kind of leaning towards Larson for the Cup race tomorrow over SVG. It's because he runs that car every week. SVG doesn't, but SVG also won the Cup race there last season. Completely different circumstance, first time versus the second time. I think that really showed for Larson in practice and qualifying today versus Van Gisbergen, as Larson was both fastest in practice and qualified on the pole. Van Gisbergen's second fastest in practice for the Xfinity Series today, qualified on the pole. Sam Mayer is actually fastest in practice overall. He is currently running 9th. Again, stages are 15, 15, and 20 for our stage splits today. Already just 34 laps to go in this very short event. A little over a half hour in.
Goodbye, too. Is there a French?
Or see the natural history. The home to see is one of best preserved T-Rex skeleton that has on Earth. Opened back in 1921. A few updates from Pit Road, and we'll start with you, Marty, in the 21.
At this stage, 1 caution, Rick. We do expect the leaders to come down pit road, but a few moments before they actually hit pit road, that pit stop cannot come soon enough for Austin Hill. The Chandler Smith engine that let go early in the race let go right in front of Austin Hill, so his windshield is caked with oil. He's also having some braking issues, Kim. He said, I'm going to have to do something different. Our wheel hop is getting so bad here.
Well, Marty, Parker Kligerman has finished top 10 in the last 9 road course starts, the longest active streak that he's trying to keep alive today. Started from the rear after an engine change, made it all the way to the top 10 to earn a stage point during that first stage. Right now, he says the car is good, a little tight in the center and slow corners. Dave, he just needs clean air. He said he got bogged down in traffic.
What an amazing battle we've been watching at the front of the pack. And everything's relative, right? So Shane Van Gisbergen, who's led 9 laps, and Kyle Larson, who's led 7. Yeah, they have complaints about their race cars. Van Gisbergen says he wants a little bit more turn in his car. Larson says, are you kidding me? He's so much faster than I am. And then he just adds a little adjustment to that. So it's been fun to watch. They're pretty equal on laps. Now we'll see how they do on pit road, guys.
Back into the team's hand. And look at Parker here.
Yeah, had to start in the back after an engine change, and this pass matters because that got him up to 10th, which will score him a point at the end of the stage. Now, pit road here, right around the corner and also backwards. Driver away from pit wall is just a little unique. We see front 2 stay out. I thought we'd see all the leaders pit. We see a wave of cars behind them. This is a split decision, Marty.
That was an interesting move with Cole Custer literally passing Ty Gibbs on pit road, who came in third in the first car on pit road. We'll have to see if Custer gets a speeding penalty right here for Custer. He said his car is extremely loose, but he was able to work his way up through the field. Meanwhile, Ty Gibbs had a front row seat for that SVG Kyle Larson battle. He said his car was a little bit too free on exit of the corners. He needs drive off, but he told the guys, keep the adjustment small. Steve, are you surprised those 2 leaders stayed out right here?
I'm very surprised as now we see a bunch of issues. A slow stop on the 00, a slow stop on the 19, a disaster on the 19. He's going to lose a ton of spots. And this was shocking, Rick. I don't know if the 19 wasn't on his lights, but the 00 feels pretty confident about his speed. A lot to unpack when we return to Chicago.
Yeah, that was interesting. A lot of contact, too, as Custer squeezed his way by Gibbs. More development on that, obviously, when they come back from the commercial break. Wait to get an update on exactly what the leaderboard is going to look like. Have to wait for the leaders to get back to the start-finish line this next time by. So field very split here. Some of them pit during stage 1, some have not. As drivers think that they can make it to the end of this race by pitting now. I'd probably say that they should be able to. So it's going to be interesting to see when those top cars of Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson do decide to pit. I'd imagine it'd be during green flag action in stage 2, unless we get a caution before that. But they're gonna be deep in the field. I would imagine everybody else is good to go on field to the end. So again, strategy very different in this one, with it only being a one-stop race. Knowing you have 2 stage breaks to potentially make this move. Pit during green flag action to leapfrog that way as well. So although it's just 1 pit stop to make it on fuel to the end, still a lot of strategy in that 1 pit stop. And we're seeing that on full display here during the stage 1 break. Doug Bowers, NASCAR Vintage 17, thanks for tuning in as well. The 41 likes on stream as well. Again, our goal is to get to 100, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet.
Whole country seems to feel so you're like, we can't road, but we can hit your baseball. Stay single. And those 2, because the 19 is creeping away. He's confused about his lights, whatever the situation is. There's some contact, but it is technically illegal, Jeff, to pass on pit entry.
That is a tough call. It is illegal, but if a guy is having an issue, are you supposed to just stack up behind him and not do anything about it? Cole Custer just instinctively said, hey, he's going too fast. Marty, I need to go around him. And Jeff, that's exactly what Cole Custer said. He said he was literally 10 miles an hour below the speed limit. I thought I could pass to the left. They're telling him that's only if a driver commits to his pit box. That's when you can pass to the left.
Yeah, I mean, the 19 was kind of in the middle lane. I'm with the 00 that felt he had the right to do this, but NASCAR disagrees, and here we go. The race is on.
Green flag back in the air as we're under green flag action to begin stage 2. Drag race down into turn 1. Great restart by Larson on the outside. He'll be on the inside into the corner. And into turn 2, trying to stay there. A lot of drivers on fresher tires behind him as well. Vast majority of the field hit pit road. Everybody from about Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, and 10th and 11th on back on fresher tires. Top 9 or so have all stayed out and have yet to hit pit road in the race. A lot of battling now back in traffic with some of those faster cars in the field that were running top 10, now just outside of the top 10. And trying to get that track position back on the slower cars ahead. AJ Allmendinger also stayed out of the pits with his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen, so he has cycled to 3rd place behind Larson and SVG. Connor Mosack still remains in 4th place as he also stayed out of the pits, but got passed on the restart by the 16 car. Sammy Smith in 5th place, was just outside the top 10 at the end of the last stage. Drivers like Josh Williams and Parker Retzlaff well outside the top 10 at the end of the last stage, but now are inside of it as they also stayed out. Daniel Suarez trying to make a pass, a little bit of contact with Parker Retzlaff. He's getting through turn 11, I believe. Now headed for 12, looking to complete it. Maybe a little more contact. A little bit of wheel hop there by Suarez on that inside lane. Suarez qualified top 10 in the Cup Series race. So he'll be starting towards the front of the field tomorrow, looking for just his third top 10 of the season. Started very deep in this one, 31st in that 36 car. It's the first Suarez start for the Xfinity Series, if I'm not mistaken, this season. Oh boy, 3 wide. That usually wouldn't work on a track like this. We'll see how it will work down towards turn 3 rather. Sam Mayer was able to clear him. Parker Retzlaff trying to get out of the gas, only to get split 3 wide again behind him as he continues to lose a ton of positions on those older tires. We'll see how the very fast cars like Larson, Van Gisbergen, and Allmendinger are going to be able to do, and even Mosak for that matter, on the older tires at the very front of the field. I think track position is still king at the end of this thing, but I don't know. We'll see. It's not like there's too many laps, not like a full fuel run worth of laps on the tires of the cars at the front of the field either. They're only on about 10, 11, 12 lap old, green flag lap old tires at this point, so I think it'll make more of a difference in these first 5 laps or so in the run rather than later in the run. Larson again going a little wide off turn 12. That's how he lost the lead to Van Gisbergen back in stage 1 and one of the passes he made for him. And he might lose it again as he'll be on the outside into turn 1. Undercuts the corner to have a better corner exit than Larson. Now he'll be on the outside in turn 2 and trying to do the same thing. Braking very early, getting back into the gas sooner. Now during the very long on throttle portion of the racetrack, headed for turn 3. Larson does stay in front of SVG for right now. Both cars going through the bumps, downshifting through 4. Very tight turn 5 before the next long straightaway of the racetrack. So great job by Larson. Despite that mistake in turn 12, holding on to the lead there, but SVG still breathing down his neck. And again, to the outside goes the 97, the 17 down on the bottom. 97, over move, getting a better straight line speed on the exit, staying with Larson. Larson continues with that slightly more not arc line, but flat line, defensive line, as he tries to keep his track position. Already going to be down to just 8 laps to go in the stage this time by. Nose to tail, bumper to bumper, the top 2 in the field. Fastest lap, by the way, in this race was set by Shane Van Gisbergen of a 91.171. That was only 6 one-thousandths of a second faster than Kyle Larson's fastest lap of the race. SVG's fastest lap was on lap 20. Larson's fastest lap on lap 12, which was back in stage 1. It was the last lap, one of the last laps of stage number 1, and one of the early laps of stage 2 was the fastest for Van Gisbergen. That's even with running in second place. So that's really amazing that he's able to do that in traffic. I mean, Larson can't have more pressure on him than what SVG is giving him right now. Again, Allmendinger trying to stay close. He's about 0.8 of a second back, maybe a little more now. But if these two get into some sort of an incident, if he can remain in that top 3 throughout the course of the race today, there will be an opportunity to pounce then. All it takes is one mistake when you're racing around these tight corners like that. It can take both of them out in an instant. And they've definitely been pushing hard from the very get-go of this one. The opening lap, they traded the lead back and forth with each other multiple times. One of the many lead changes already between the 17 and the 97 today. Almost halfway through the race already, lap 23 of 50. Again, 8 laps to go in stage 2. Austin Hill, the first of which on the fresher tires, has climbed his way to 6th on the restart. He initially was 11th. His teammate Jesse Love, who's right with him on the restart, still back in 11th. Same for Sam Mayer in 12th. So great adjustments made to the 21 of Austin Hill. Maybe he is in a prime position to try to win this thing on his strategy. he can make it on fuel all the way to the end of the race. It could be very much the case. And again, it's going to be interesting to see what Larson and Van Gisbergen do here for pit stop. Same for Allmendinger. Again, everybody that did not pit at the end of stage 1. And what they're going to do here in stage 2, when will they make their next pit stop? And will anybody that has pitted once already make a second stop? They can make it on field to the end. Will Larson and SVG be able to climb back through the field? Oh, speaking of third place, AJ Allmendinger has crashed. Turn 6, it looks like. SVG, or sorry, not SVG, AJ Allmendinger has crashed in turn 6. He was in third place, right behind Kyle Larson and Van Gisbergen. There's quite a bit of damage to the back of his race car. I think he looped it around. I don't think Mosak was close enough to him on track that might have caused contact, which sent the 16 around. I think the 16 might have just wheel hopped it and lost it on his own. Pretty hard hit into the wall, too. Just carried too much speed, it looked like. Very rare you see Allmendinger crash on his own on a road course. Not going to say he's had a rough season. He's had speed in some races this season. Even last week in Nashville, he looked to have a very good race car. Definitely ran top 3 for most of the day, but running third here and ran himself into an issue. So 7 laps to go in stage 2. And I would imagine this will probably bring the leaders in of Larson, Van Gisbergen, Mosak, Sammy Smith, all those drivers that did not pit during stage 1. I'd imagine then now they're going to take the time to pit here, but the problem is does everybody else behind them pit, or will they continue to stay out? The longer you stay out, the less time you're going to be able to fight through the field. At some point, they're probably going to have to be in some sort of traffic. It's a matter of exactly when do they want that to be the case. Definitely don't want to be back with the squirrels, as some would say, but I think they put themselves in the strategy that they're probably going to have to be at some point. Top 10 right now, by the way, all Chevys. No Toyotas or Fords in the top 10, with Cole Custer having that pit road penalty for passing on pit road entry, getting by Ty Gibbs, so he had to restart at the rear end of the lead lap. He is in 23rd. And with this caution coming out, as well as the stage 1 end, it's allowed for a couple cars to get back on the lead lap. Jeremy Clements got the initial free pass after, remember, he had an incident late in stage 1 on the restart. Came in for a green flag stop. Got the free pass initially, but now has exited from the race on lap 15 at the stage end. Clements is 8 laps down. 29 of Blaine Perkins will get another lap back here, so he'll be 2 laps down again.
Trying to keep up with the 2 leaders. Push entry, the rear tire starts skipping across the asphalt, losing control. Corner entry is AJ Allmendinger's signature. That is why he is so good at the road courses. This just reassures us how impressive, Jeff, that 17 and 97 are out there leading.
Yeah, it really is, and it shows you the competitive fire of an AJ Allmendinger. Hey, man, I want to get in this battle, overstep his bounds a little bit, but that's what you expect of a race car driver, right? Operate on the edge of grip, trying to chase those 2 guys down. I mean, 15 Xfinity road course wins among those top 3, and AJ Allmendinger wants to be the guy that they're all chasing, just pushed a little bit too hard.
They feel hot all the way for him. You know.
All right, so pits are open now, and this is super interesting, right? I think Larson, SVG, Mosak, they all have to come to pit road, and that's great time, right? They can split the race up kind of in the middle. The question is, all those other guys that pitted around lap 17, how many will come to pit road? How far back will the 17 and the 97 fall in this pit cycle? I think that will really shift kind of the, whether this strategy works or not is what everyone else does. As you see the 21 other cars stay left. Dave.
Kyle Larson in the 17 described his car as the rear end is a little bit swingy. And so crew chief Greg Ives said, we'll give you air pressure and track bar adjustment, fairly aggressive to help that. As for Shane Van Gisbergen, he wants that front turn better. Their team is supplied by Trackhouse Racing and the Hendrick pit crew from Chase Elliott's car pits the 17th.
There were a few that came further back, but in the end, this caution by Allmendinger brings the leaders onto pit road.
Under caution for the third time today, our second for incident, our first incidental caution of stage 2, lap 22 at the time of the yellow. Turn 6 has been Calamity Corner for the second consecutive year. We saw that a lot last year's Cup Series race here. Incident with Allmendinger now in the middle going of this Xfinity Series race after he was running in the third place position. Quite a bit of damage to the right side of the 16 car for AJ. We'll take another ad break. You're listening live to the Loop 110 for the Chicago Street Course Race right here on KRC. See about one lap behind what I see. Yeah, there's a delay between YouTube and what you guys would be seeing. So I've noticed with cable television, it seems to be a little bit, or not cable, network, or yeah, cable television. It seems to be different from network television. So, I mean, yeah, you can pause the race for about a lap or so and get it synced up that way if you want to listen to only my audio with it. That'd probably be the best thing to do. It's a lot of cars.
Question is, we're going to be able to work through traffic without an issue party.
See, just as things started to work out for Austin Hill, who sits there on the front row, is there an issue now on the 21? Listen in.
No. Not right there.
So just as a note, Austin Hill cannot hear his team on the backstretch. He can only hear them here on the front stretch, Rick.
A lot of people on the radio here. At least 2 spotters. Some teams using 3. Add the crew chief in. Really important to kind of get those communication and the handoff points. When is it my job or your job to spot the race car?
At Lakeshore Drive, that's backstretch more or less here, and so that's a long ways away from pit road. But it's also been the hectic area getting into turn number 4. Back up through the gears they go, and onto the front stretch. 2 leaders, and it's Sammy Smith and Austin Hill. The green flag back in the air. Sammy Smith has the advantage into 1.
New players at the front of the field. Here's Austin Hill. He's going to open up the inside lane. He'll slide through. He'll grab the lead to the 21. Sammy Smith in the 8, trying to protect second, and to do a good job of that as they turn right on the Lakeshore Drive, racing for the lead and spots on back.
Jesse Love in the 2 car moves into the 3rd spot. Justin Allgaier trying to fend off his Junior Motorsports teammate for 4th as they all race down Lakeshore Drive and chase that car, the 21 of Austin Hill.
Single file, 1 behind. Here's Sheldon 3 to the inside of the back. Turn number 5 onto Columbus Drive. You got Sammy Smith there. You got others stacked up. Sam Mayer in the 1. That's that single file conga line from second on back as Austin Hill starts to open up his lead by a couple of furlongs, and everybody finds their piece. Here's turn 6. Logano dive bombing, trying to pick up a spot. So, and crew chief put me in position by getting me earlier. I've got to do my job. I cannot give those spots up. You can see Larson working his way. He has separated himself from Shane Van Gisbergen by about 3 cars. That is big. If he can continue to do that, he can get to the front and maybe put SVG in a position where he can never get you back up.
Larson and SVG restarted 17th and 20th respectively, right along with the WeatherTech onboard of Van Gisbergen. And back into turn number 12, but those 2 are now in 16th and 18th. So everyone's chasing after Austin Hill now here.
And he is trying to get away. Everybody lined up behind them. Further back, here's Larson. Trying to 3-wide move. Going to make it work to the inside. He and Logano lean on each other in 1. Contact off the end of the front straightaway, and they're still side by side. Come on, the drivers out of race tomorrow, doing battle today on Lakeshore Drive right now.
And this is the race for the 10th spot. And Larson is trying to move past into as he can get by Logano here as they race down Lakeshore Drive. Larson, the unfavorable outside line here in this part of the racetrack, could clear Logano. So Larson can take the 10th spot. Turn 4. Logano back to 11th. The exit 5. The 17 is on the move.
Larson wiggling there, coming out of turn number 5. Logano trying to capitalize on that. Got work to do as they race their way down Columbus. Here's Logano back again, taking the inside of Larson. Larson had the lane covered, and here comes Shane Van Gisbergen. Anthony Alfredo over the 5, trying to make his way to the front of Larson.
Shane with a good job of keeping pace. It looked like Kyle Larson was going to drive away from him. Now there's only one car in between them. Not going to be able to make a pass through this section, but he'll try to outbrake Joey Logano into this right-hander, Kim.
And how about the play by crew chief Adam Ball for Sammy Smith, the only driver not to have made a stop today? He said during that last caution, it doesn't matter what the leaders do, we're sticking to our plan. Looks like it's going to be a points grab for stage 2 for Sammy Smith, who came into this race just 11 points to the good on that playoff ridge right now. Stanley just struggling with front turn and rear drive.
Getting every point you can against Sammy Smith will have to come to pit road at least once before the end of this race. And we know there'll be a caution at the end of stage 2, which is 3 laps to go here in Chicago. Side by side here is Sam Mayer, was on the outside of Sheldon Creed. They go into turn 4.
Look at this 4 here. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Sam Mayer are going to lose 2 spots in turn 5. As Parker Fingerman goes through as well. He follows Sheldon Creed. Ty Gibbs goes as well. Mayer goes from 5th to 8th. On board with Ty Gibbs coming out of 5. He's trying to make up some lost ground, trying to get back to back bumper. Fingerman, that car directly in front of him. Here comes the left-hander. Turn 6. Gibbs cannot run it down. Below will gain about a half a lane on corner exits.
See this part of the racetrack that was downhill into turn 7. Watch as they climb this hill, right-hander, a little bit of a elevation change. Stay as far left as possible through this loop. Now Allman hit this right side wall. Now Allman hit the left side wall. You got to use all this racetrack. There's not a lot of it, Jeff. We ride along with the Toyota onboard of Ty Gibbs. And again, Gibbs running in the 7th spot. Take a look at what happened between Sheldon and Sam here. This is coming into the turn.
Yes.
Turn 2.
Sam, a little bit of defensive line down low. The 18 gets in the right rear quarter panel. 18's had a lot of action in turn 2 today. Damage now on the right rear quarter panel of the 1. It definitely seems to be slowing it down. His overall pace has gone away. Is now the 48 of Parker Kligerman battling with Ty Gibbs in the 19, side by side down Lakeshore.
Fight for the 6th position, and Gibbs surging ahead now as they go to 4.
Parker from the back of the field. It's a nice drive for him. Ty Gibbs as well. He fouled there for 4. Kligerman is all over him. Chewing the back bumper. They race for the 5th spot off turn 5. Parker Kligerman giving a random chance to the back bumper of Ty Gibbs coming out of turn number 5. And now, push out driver's right. Side by side off the end of Columbus Drive. Gibbs will protect the spot. Mayer puts the lane. Now it's Kligerman and Mayer win.
Side-by-side battle, and then behind them, you just saw SVG got by. Made the move on Larson, so now he leads that back, trying to get back to the front. On board 97, looking back at Larson. Larson's car does not seem to be as good this run.
SVG's made his way up into the 10th spot now, just in front of Larson. So as we're closing in on the final lap of stage 2, a caution will be coming out at the end of that stage, and there will be a restart. So we'll see if the pressure tires and the guarantee that they've got enough fuel to make it all the way to the end will help out the 17 and the 97 on a different strategy than a lot of the others.
They come out of 1 into 2 for the last time in this second stage. Austin Hill away with the lead. He's looking further back in the pack right now. Sam Mayer peeking to the inside of Kligerman. Little wheel lock up from PK. Exiting turn 2.
Everybody orderly all the way through the top 10 as they work down Lakeshore Drive. 3, 4, and 5. Austin Hill going behind right there. The comfortable margin over Sammy's head. Nancy Love.
Austin Hill with the biggest lead of the entire afternoon right now as he's trying to distance himself, win this stage, and set up for the rest of the race. Then they come into sixth. The left-hander, Austin Hill's lead 5 furlongs over this tight battle behind him that is led by Sammy Smith.
Austin Hill is a good road racer. We have seen him in battles with Shane Van Gisbergen. Those two, not a lot of love lost, so he knows eventually SVG is probably going to get there, and he's going to have to step his game up when he does, but he's doing a really good job trying to get this stage win.
How aggressive will he be to try to hang on, potentially get a win on the streets of Chicago? Austin Hill is out in front, and for the final turn, he'll come back on the front stretch. And Austin Hill in stage number 2, after leading, this will be his 5th lap. He gets the stage win. Sammy Smith, the only car that has not been to pit road yet, finishes 2nd, and Cole Custer, you see him spinning out of turn 12. So after a heavyweight battle in stage 1, stage 2, it seems like, well, it continued, but it was a little further back in the pack. Parker Kligerman roughing up the 19 of Gibbs. In the end, Austin Hill gets the win in stage 2.
So Austin Hill wins stage 2, Sammy Smith 2nd, Jesse Love 3rd, Justin Allgaier 4th, Sheldon Creed rounds out the top 5 there. Ty Gibbs 6th, Parker Kligerman 7th, Sam Mayer 8th, John Hunter Nemechek 9th, and Shane Van Gisbergen gets the last stage point in 10th. So that is your finishing order to stage 2. Just now 20 laps to go in today's Loop 110 at the Chicago Street Course layout, downtown Chicago, Illinois. A little NASCAR Xfinity Series racing yet again on a Saturday afternoon. Up to 49 likes on the stream, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content as well. We have live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series races, as well as Cup Series practice and qualifying, as we had a stream for earlier this afternoon. Take another break here as we're during the midst of our stage 2 break. And we'll go over some other things here before we get back to racing in stage 3. And maybe we'll see some pit stops for some of those front runners at the front of the field that can't make it on gas to the end. Maybe we won't. We'll have to wait and see there also. So today's stage 2 diecast showing, I figured it's a road course race, a street course race, but road course, you know, with NASCAR. Figured I'd have a diecast showing for the best driver in NASCAR history on road courses, and that guy would be Jeff Gordon. He's got the most wins ever in NASCAR Cup Series action on road courses, 9 road course wins. That was back in a time period where we only had 2 a year. This diecast is from 2008, and it is his DuPont Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, a classic flame paint scheme. Definitely one of my favorite paint schemes growing up as a kid, to say the least. One of the more iconic ones is Jeff Gordon, of course. So wanted to show this one off again. He has the most career wins on road courses in the NASCAR Cup Series side of things. Of course, this is an Xfinity Series race, but still figured I'd show this diecast off here this weekend. So there you see it. Classic number 24, the flame red DuPont logos. Seen some throwback schemes of this in recent years in the Darlington Throwback Scheme weekend. William Byron actually just a couple years ago won at Darlington with this very paint scheme. So that is our stage 2 diecast showing for today's race. And we will have another diecast showing, of course, coming up tomorrow.
Or at the track. Great points in for free tickets, expensive gear, autograph dice, and great. NASCAR.rewards. Has to be Chicago River here, right? Town. You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Chicago. It's the Loop 110 with one stage to go, and we go to Brad Doherty And DJ and guys, I tell you what, things are heating up for Cole Custer. It seems like he's had a little bit of an issue after his pit road incident.
Yeah, after winning last year's inaugural race in the Xfinity Series here on the streets of Chicago, it's been an interesting day. Little contact. Racing all the way to end the stage here, Brad.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got the 15 Joey Logano and Cole Custer racing really, really hard, trying to maintain. You're trying to stay ahead of whomever you can, trying to get that track position and keep it. And it looks like Joey, Cole just got into Joey a little bit there. I don't think Joey checked up, but Cole was not happy with Joey. Thought he raced him a little bit unclean there, but it looks to me like Cole just kind of lost it trying to chase Joey, and the tempers are what they are. You got to maintain that track position.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting to see who's going to come down pit road here. Cole didn't do his tires any favor right there. Is he going to be the one sitting up to hit pit road? Steve, what's your thoughts on who may be coming down, and will that be taking away any opportunity they have of winning here?
I do think that spin, to your point, DJ, for Custer, it's a real risk to stay out on those tires. We know Sammy Smith running at second will have to come to pit road. I really believe the other cars inside the top 15 or 18, they're committed to their strategy. They probably were a little outside their fuel window when they pitted, but they're riding around here slow, trying to save as much gas. We saw how much Logano saved last week in the Cup Series under caution. I think you can't quite save that much here, but you can still be efficient.
SVG is going to restart. It'll be ninth because we know Sammy Smith will make his way onto pit road and fill up with fuel. So there's the 8 making his way onto pit road.
Oh, the 7 joins him as well. I thought he was going to try to connect his pit stops, but 7 came to pit road, Dave.
Yeah, Steve, he needed the stage break caution laps plus 5 more, according to crew chief Jim Pullman. And so they just decided to come down, put the 4 fresh tires on it, put fuel in it, and just see what he can grab back in the back of the pack. Kim?
Sammy Smith on a completely different strategy than anybody else, making his first pit stop of the day. He said he struggled at the end of the run, needs front turn and rear drive. No major changes, though. It's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires. They don't want to come too far off what they have right now, but pit road, a lonely place, Marty. He's going to have to pass a lot of cars.
Regular season Xfinity Series points leader Cole Custer coming down pit road. A few factors playing here for Jonathan Tony and why he brought him down pit road. Number one, the spin that Brad and DJ just mentioned a moment ago. He said, I want to be on offense, so I want fresh tires to do that. But number two, they think they might have a power steering issue, Steve. So you're going to see this 4-tire stop finish up, and then they're going to go under the hood of the 00 and see if there's anything they can diagnose here to maybe get that power steering fixed for Cole Custer. And if there's an issue, maybe they can take care of it here on pit road.
Those are the Harbor Suites. The backstretch there in between Lake Michigan and Lakeshore Drive.
All right, under another full screen commercial break, 18 laps to go in the midst of stage 3 now, the final stage of the race for this NASCAR Xfinity Series race downtown Chicago. Austin Hill, who ended up winning stage 2, that was his 3rd stage win of the season. Shane Van Gisbergen from the pole won stage number 1. Pit strategy has left Austin Hill up at the front of the field here. He stayed out of the pits, of course, that caution coming out. Sammy Smith did come to pit road. He had not pitted at all yet today up until that point. Stayed out trying to get some stage points. Of course, Sammy Smith came into this race last driver and above the cutoff line on the point standing side of things. I actually haven't taken a look at the point standings yet on the Xfinity Series field, so we'll do that while we're under caution for the final stage here. I just had them up and I got rid of them and I completely forgot that we had not gone over them yet, so I'll highlight that in a moment. Maybe. So you heard there from Marty Snyder. Cole Custer is the regular season points leader coming into this one. Only 15 points ahead of Chandler Smith. Now, Smith dropped out of the race in the early laps with an engine failure, so no stage points for Chandler, and he'll be credited with a last place finish, so just 1 point for him today. Justin Allgaier, who also started deep in the field, did pick up stage points in stage 2, so that was better than Custer, but now on the same strategy as him further back in the field, so it doesn't look like he's going to gain a ton of points on the 00, but he should gain some. Has a chance to move up to second, though, in the point standings if he has a decent enough finish, as he was a little over 30 points back, about 33 points back of Chandler for second. overall. Austin Hill's fourth in points. He's minus 78. So that's the top four in the regular season standings. And then as far as the actual playoff standings go, 12 drivers can lock themselves into the Xfinity Series playoff field. And as of right now, after this race is done, we'll have 8 races to go in the regular season. Chandler Smith with 2 wins, Austin Hill with 2 wins, and Shane Van Gisbergen with 2 wins. Sam Mayer also with 2. So those 4 drivers each have 2 wins. Are locked in. 1 win apiece for both Jesse Love and for Justin Allgaier. So they're locked into the playoffs as well. So 6 different winners so far of Xfinity Series regulars on the year. As far as the drivers who are in on points or just outside the cutoff line on points coming into the race today, you got Cole Custer, who comes into this race as the regular season points leader. So obviously he'd be in on points if we started the playoffs today. And you got Riley Herbst, who's actually fifth overall in the driver's standings, but also without a win. AJ Allmendinger without a win. He got in a wreck in the early going. He is still running, I believe, on the lead lap, but not in as good a shape as he once was while he was third early on. Sheldon Creed, 8th in points overall, would be inside the cutoff line. Parker Kligerman would also be top 10 in points on the driver's standings, 11th on the playoff grid. Sammy Smith was the last driver above the cutoff line coming into the day over Ryan Sieg, an 11-point difference between Smith and Sieg. And as you heard, Sammy stayed out to get those stage points, finished second in stage 2 after no stage points in stage 1, and no stage points at all today for Ryan Sieg. Brandon Jones also well below the cutoff line. Almost a full race back. Same for Anthony Alfredo, Brennan Poole, Parker Retzlaff, and more. So that is how the point standings are shaping up as we are about to begin stage 3 here in Chicago.
To radio or fix that situation in Black the 21s.
They have that right. But it would surprise me. We have seen guys have radio issues. I've had that black flag my own driver. I've been a walk and sled with no radio communication. We're going to run out of gas. You ask NASCAR to black flag your driver. So NASCAR erring on the side of caution, making sure the 21 had radio. Luckily for the 21, he could, and he still gets to keep this track position.
So now on Columbus Drive and turning onto Balbo. Away from Lake Michigan.
We talked on about the 97 and 17. I think let's not forget about that 19 of Ty Gibbs. Remember earlier in the race, he was kind of just, it looked to be patient right behind them. He's now kind of jumped in front of them. So, much like those two who are trying to get position, the 19's thinking if he can get out there, get some clean air to the brakes, kind of keep the car cooler, can he hold them off?
And right beside the 19 is Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed has so many second place finishes, but he is looking to get that first win. Well, today's aerial coverage is brought to you by Shady Rays, and we'll have a little aerial coverage of the Loop 110. Thanks to Shady Rays as they work their way through East Congress Plaza.
I mentioned cool air to the brakes. The 18 has cool air to the brakes because he has no fender on the right front of that. You can keep stuff often.
Yes.
All right. A great shot of where they got a restart on that short shoot there on Jackson.
The restart zone coming up as they crest that bridge and head back down to turn 12. Into the restart zone they go, and back into the gas they go. Down the front stretch, Austin Hill, Jesse Love. And a fight for second is building now.
Here they come back into one, side by side. Austin Hill forcing the point there in the 21, the car on the right-hand side, trying to reclaim the lead over Jesse Love, his teammate. But Love will beat him to turn 2. He'll take the lead on Lakeshore Drive.
And Austin Hill in an unfavorable spot there, the outside of 2, leaves the door open for Ty Gibbs, the black and green number 19, as he goes to the right side, down Lakeshore Drive and into heavy braking on turn number 4.
Jesse Love way with the lead. Second spot. Hill matches Sheldon 4th and Sam Mayer 5th is in the top 5. Everybody's staking their way out of 5 onto Columbus, setting up for 6. That yellow and black car at the front, that's Jesse Love. First time he's led all afternoon. Now he's got Ty Gibbs behind him. They try to squeeze his way inside on a one side. Can't do it now. It's every way downhill and center.
He's trying to get by them because that white car, the 97 of SVG, he is driven away from him. 3 cars in between them now.
Kyle Larson knows that he's going to win this race. That's who he's going to have to race, and he's getting away from him. His car is not as good this run.
Big W on the hood of that WeatherTech car of Van Gisbergen, and he's running in the 6th position. Jesse Love's trying to run away from this field. Gibbs is running 2nd now, but Love, he has got a mare full of the 19 of Gibbs as they go to 1.
Oh, got a wreck over here. Got a wreck. Turn 12. Gosh, the is stopped. The 14 car of Castro, big trouble. Up. The rest of yes.
As a hood up on the front stretch, and the caution comes out. So another restart. Advantage SVG. He's going to start a little bit closer to the front now.
Yeah, an advantage for all those guys trying to save fuel. Parker Hetzloff doing a nice job of driving that thing through the side window. See, it's just a stack.
Oh.
Yeah. Can't tell what caused it, but they all stack up. That's what Jeff was talking about earlier. It's just so narrow through there that the first time you get guys stacking up, there's no way to get around. Now here you see the damage to the 31. That's what's made the hood come up. He broke the hood in front of that car.
Kyle Segan, the 28, that's the black car that's right up against the tire barriers. He had to check up.
He's doing a nice job nursing that thing back to pit road. Be looking out the hood vent, if you can imagine. There's that square cut in the hood.
There's a lot of damage to the 26 of Sage Karam. That happened right in turn 11. So much damage to the 14. Andre Castro. And Steve, with 15 to go, does anybody come to pit road?
Yeah. Fix where you're running. Before they repaint small tracks, we see where you come get tires, but there's just so much challenge with traffic. While there are some great passing zones here, we saw, Parker Kligerman drive through the field from the back. Same thing with the 18 of Sheldon Creed. I don't think you want to go back there if you don't have to. So the leaders, I think, are all going to stay. But we have only seen the start, I think, of the pushing, the shoving.
Well, when the lap number winds down, the pressure, the intensity ramps up. And it'll be 14 to go when they cross the start-finish line. Jesse Love, Gibbs, Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, as pit road is still closed. But it was the pile-up in turn 11 that brought the caution out and the accordion effect.
Jesse Love still the race leader at the time of the caution there. 14 laps to go. Ty Gibbs is second. Austin Hill third. Sheldon Creed fourth. Sam Mayer fifth. And Shane Van Gisbergen is currently sixth. Parker Kligerman in seventh. Connor Mosack eighth. Kyle Larson in ninth. John Hunter Nemechek is 10th. Joey Logano 11th. Riley Herbst 12th. Austin Green 13th. Brandon Jones 14th. Ryan Sieg 15th. Daniel Suarez 16th. 17th is Brennan Poole. Leland Honeyman is 18th. Josh Williams 19th. AJ Allmendinger is 20th. 21st for Justin Allgaier. Preston Part is 22nd. Kyle Weatherman 23rd. Sammy Smith 24th. Cole Custer 25th. Ryan Ellis 26th. Jeff Burton 27th. 28th for Matt DiBenedetto. Parker Retzlaff 29th. And Anthony Alfredo is 30th. Sage Karam 31st. Kyle Sieg 32nd is the last car on the lead lap. Andre Castro a lap down in 33rd. Josh Balicki 34th. Blaine Perkins 35th. Alex Obey 36th. Jeremy Clements 37th out of the race. And Chandler Smith with an engine failure on lap 5 is also out of the race. So at least 2 cars are out right now. I'm not sure if any of them that were involved in that stack up in turn 12 are going to be out of the race at the time or not. Also, and that caution lap 35 was our 5th of the day, our first of stage 3. We had 1 caution for incident in each stage today, plus the 2 stage breaks. So those are all the yellows. 5 different drivers have led at least 1 lap in the race, with 10 lead changes amongst those 5 drivers. Most of which between Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson in the first 2 stages during green flag racing. Now they're back in traffic trying to make their way through the field on the alternating pit strategy. pitted later than those behind him, so having to make up ground on slightly fresher tires, faster cars. SVG again has made his way to 6th, Larson to 9th, as they restarted around 15th or a little beyond that when we began. Well, not began stage 3, but there was a restart with about 5 or 6 laps to go in stage 2. That restart, they were about 15, 16. So they had 2 restarts at this point to try to get some spots, and about to have a third here in another lap or two when we get back to racing. We'll take another break. You're listening live on KRC to the Chicago Street Race for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Also want to mention, I did close the poll at the end of stage 2 per usual. We had 92 votes, and 56% of those 92 votes voted for Shane Van Gisbergen to win today's race. Kyle Larson had 27% of the votes, 10% for somebody other than Larson, Van Gisbergen, or Gibbs, and Ty Gibbs getting just 5%. So those were your 4 voting options. So it looks like you and me are in agreement that we all think, for the most part, that SVG is going to go on and win this Xfinity race, make it 3 in a row on the road courses. Kenny is in 6th place. We'll see if he can make it happen. Be getting back to racing here very shortly.
4th of July weekend. Dave.
Well, Rick, I look around at the festival atmosphere. I think it's appropriate that a teenager leads this race, but it's not just any teenager. Jesse Love has been very impressive this year. Danny Stockman, his crew chief, has him out front. Can he stay there with all the chaos that we think is coming?
Well, again on Jesse, he's pretty fun to work with. I'm having a great time this year, and I think we have a really good car. I think our strategy's working out. And we just knew that we had to have track position at the end because of the chaos that's fixing to happen. So there's some tough company behind us, but he's doing a heck of a job, and it's just so hard to pass here that if we play our cards right, I think we can get it done today.
You okay on fuel past the scheduled distance?
Yes, sir.
All right, Marty.
Well, I'm not sure where to start with what Austin Hill and Andy Street have had to deal with today. Your driver couldn't see out of the windshield. You've had wheel op issues. You've had radio issues. So to be sitting here in third, I guess that's not too bad, is it, Andy?
No, we've had a pretty good recovery here from all of our issues. So got a lot of confidence in Austin Hill, and I know SVG and then 17 are coming behind us. So we can handle these caution laps. A few more caution laps here, I'll be happy.
There you go. So the point at this point is just to survive for the 21 car, especially with that battle that should be coming, Rick.
Yeah, right now, Austin Hill running in the 3rd spots as we continue to enjoy the scenery here in the city of Chicago, the 3rd largest city in the United States. And fans are going to...
I believe they'll be headed to commercial here very soon. A little bit of a lengthy cleanup still going on between turns 11 and 12 where that last caution had taken place. I believe we had 4 cars total in the incident. All kind of crunched very similarly with one another in a nose-to-tail fashion. Big chain reaction of events going on. Tough to tell exactly how that started other than the fact that one car maybe drove it in a little too deep on another that didn't take the corner as hot as the car in front of him, and everybody was just kind of following each other into that mess. And we saw a very big parking lot crash in the Cup Series race down in turn 11 last year, which started in a very similar fashion. Luckily, only 4 cars were involved in this, though this took place towards the back of the lead lap, which is the main reason why there weren't as many cars in it. But some debris laid down from behind, quite a bit of damage to the 4 drivers involved in the incident. And we continue on still under caution. The more laps that go away under the yellow flag, that's less of an opportunity for Kyle Larson from 9th to try to make his drive through the field. And even in some circumstances, the same for Shane Van Gisbergen, who's a little higher in the running order in 6th. And it seems like SVG's definitely been better in traffic than Larson. Since being towards the back of the pack, he quickly has been a few cars out ahead of him for these last couple of restarts, and that's even included the fact that Larson actually beat SVG off of pit road initially when they pitted during the caution in the middle of stage 2. Larson came out of pit road first, and SVG came out 3rd or 4th. And that has only passed Larson in the last couple of restarts, but has passed a few other cars on top of that.
a premier division race side of Soldier Field that Fireball Roberts ended up winning. Dave, SVG. So he's got 5 in front of him to be able to get to the front.
He's come on like a fireball to the NASCAR series himself, and today, I believe he still has a car that can do it. Just checked in with his crew chief, Bruce Schlicker, and he says it's fine. It'll be fine at the end of this race. We're just waiting to watch and see what Shane can do, and that's what we've all been doing. Everyone here last year in the Cup Series, it was a Truck Series race at Indianapolis Raceway Park that spurred on the movement to get Shane over here full time. He was supposed to go Supercars racing again this year, but they moved forward and forward and forward, and late in the year they signed an agreement with Trackhouse Racing, and it included a full season in Xfinity with this group, Colleague Racing, to get him to the next level. Obviously, he's been racing in the Cup Series as well, but the goal now is to be in America, winning in NASCAR. He is doing it, and what a change, Rick, just a year after he stunned the world here in Chicago.
Yeah, you see he's 35 years old, out of New Zealand, and you kind of give a perspective. Okay, this is his first full-time year, and you look at a guy like Justin Allgaier, who is 38 years old, and he's really made a career out of the Xfinity Series, racing here for over a decade.
Yeah, and SVG, when he gets in really anything, whether it's, over in Europe, maybe at the Bathurst, over in Australia, or whether it's Daytona at the Rolex, any sort of sports car, his pace is unbelievable. What I really appreciate is he could have just cherry picked and run road courses and been in contention to win probably every one of them. But to commit to a full schedule and to go to these ovals where he races against much younger race car drivers with less starts and laps in their career, but all of it on ovals, Shane is at a disadvantage. And I think it says a lot about a driver who has enough humility to kind of start over in a style of racing. And that's what it is for Shane when he goes to the ovals. We talk a lot about him here, but when we go to, Pocono or some of these other races, and he'll self-admittedly is a little bit wide-eyed. Like, it's just between the aerodynamics and how these guys race. But it's a lot of fun when he comes to a place like this, watching his car control and just raw speed.
Let's check back in on the Peacock pit box with DJ and Brad. Brad, put the pizza down.
I did. Down in my belly. DJ, what do you think? So we're talking about Van Gisbergen. Can he get back to the front? But I'm also looking at the front. You got Sheldon Creed, you got Gibbs, you got Love, you got Mayer, you got these guys that want to win this race so badly. Can they hold him off?
I hope they're paying attention. They're getting ready to get a lesson. How you do this. He's one of the best that we've seen, especially at this street racing. The only way he doesn't win is if the caution somehow comes out, stays out too long to where he doesn't have time to make this. But he's going to, I believe, make pretty short work of this and get himself back in the very front. He just has skills that everybody else and normal race drivers don't have.
Okay. Rick, hey, DJ, pass the pizza. Back to you, Rick.
Pass the pizza up here. So once again, we'll give you a vantage point as to where everyone is around this street course. Again, in turns 1 and 6 is Mike Bagley. I call the exit there as they turn left onto 1 and left onto 6. And then once they go through 2, that right-hander that puts them on Lakeshore Drive, and 3, they'll head right down to Dylan Welsh. And Dylan has been able to watch a lot of the action taking place in front of him. Jeff Burt over in turn 11, right by the Art Institute there of Chicago. And Steve and I have been comfortably here on the front stretch as we watch them go down and race all the way into that turn 1. And Bagley, what do you think about this battle we've seen today?
Well, first of all, I want to slice of that piece that Brad's having over here. Let's get some over to turn 6. Racing-wise, I think it's going to be a great battle to the end. Chaos is getting ready to break loose, and you're not going to want to miss this.
Still, and Mike over here in turn 4, I think we had our eyes open to the fact you can run 2 wide for here. I would have never expected that to be the case, but Kyle Larson, Shane Van Gisbergen have proven it today. They can get back to the front, Jeff. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch them.
Yeah, it is going to be fun. They got to go through a lot of good race car drivers, though. We've seen aggressive racing all day long. Well, now just over 10 laps to go, it's going to get even more aggressive. Somebody's getting ready to get a check.
I only challenge Dylan's statement that says, you can run 2 wide through turn 4. I would say some can run 2 wide through 4. I'm not sure the whole field can.
We're seeing them 2 by 2 again. That means a restart coming, Marty.
Rick, so how did Austin Hill go from first to third on the last restart? This radio might explain it. So he was mad at his teammate Jesse Love for jumping the start there, the restart in his opinion, because he was a control car. But Rick, I don't think that's the last time we're going to see contact on a restart today.
Yeah, and again, reminding you, Jesse Love and Austin Hill, they're teammates. So running for the same organization, Richard Childress Racing. It's Ty Gibbs, though, in the 19 who'll be on the outside of Love as they get ready for the restart here, coming into turn 12, into the restart zone now. And back into the gas on the brakes, but then back into the gas again on the front stretch. Love with the advantage, but here comes that 19. Back over, can he outbreak him? No, Jesse Love's going to have the advantage in one.
Oh, but Gibbs is all over it, but coming out of the corner, hard on the brakes, though. Love is away with the lead. Here's Jesse Love trying to pull away from a side-by-side battle. Ty Gibbs in the 19, going to squeeze down to the inside. Make that Austin Hill squeezing inside of Gibbs to take second. The Joe Gibbs Racing car spun around in the back of the field at the exit of turn number 2 as the back group tries to weave their way through there. Looks like we'll stay green. Got Preston Furnace stopped at 12 on the bottom of your screen. Leaders through 4 and 5. It's RCR up front. 2 and 21. Jesse Love and Austin Hill. And then Ty Gibbs and Sheldon Free, 3rd and 4th.
We're going to try it again. Preston Pardis, that's the 50, parked there in turn 12, not able to get going. And so because of that, they'll have to get assistance to him. Hey, what's going on down there, Jeff?
Yeah, Rick, he came out of the loop and just with no power, and he put it in neutral. He did everything he could, but the car is just not running. Something's happened mechanically. Something he could do.
So we did see in turn 2, this is entering turn 2, this little melee here, it got into the 9 of Brandon Jones.
Oh, yeah, that was just a big dive bomb. It looked like that was A.J. Allmendinger. That was 3 wide on the bottom, made contact with a whole bunch of cars. Ended up being the worst for the 9 of Brandon Jones, being on the outside. I don't think he had really anything to do with it other than receiving the contact from the inside. Now, 16 just trying to make positions up, but pretty aggressive move for sure in 90-degree corner turn 2. You know, the other thing worth pointing out is, you know, at the front of the field, you know, Van Gisbergen, I think, was going to pass Mayer and almost had a run for a couple more spots, right? So every time the yellow comes out, it makes a difference.
Fewer laps if he wants to get to the front. And it ain't going to happen. But A.J. Allmendinger aggressively through 2 and knocks the 9 around.
All right, so under caution right now, Jesse Love, currently the race leader under yellow. 1-2 at the front of the leaderboard for RCR as a whole, as Austin Hill is 2nd, Ty Gibbs 3rd, Sheldon Creed 4th, and Shane Van Gisbergen is 5th. That is the top 5 on the leaderboard as we are about to get ready for yet another restart. We're down to just 10 laps to go in today's street course race for the NASCAR Xfinity Series in downtown Chicago. About an hour and a half from the drop of the green flag to where we're at right now in this very short sprint of a race. This is our 6th caution of the day, and this is our 2nd of stage 3. 4 cautions for incident in total, as we have 28 cars on the lead lap right now. Blaine Perkins, I believe, will get the free pass to get back on the lead lap with this caution. So, after being 5 laps down very early in the day, he has gotten his laps back to get back on the lead lap with all the yellows that we have had. Not many of them, though. Again, only 4 cautions for incident. Although this is a very short race, and this might not be the last one. Yeah, we do have a NASCAR 07 stream coming up later on this evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Start Time, Eastern Daylight Time, excuse me. But 7 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, we will go live NASCAR 07. It will be a full Busch Series or Xfinity Series race, if you will, at the Watkins Glen International. So a little road course race on that side of things as we keep the road course race action coming here on this NASCAR race weekend. So that'll be our final stream of the night. And then tomorrow, we will go live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for a NASCAR Cup Series pre-race prior to the start of course, the NASCAR Cup race also in downtown Chicago on this street course layout. Waiting for them to come back from commercial break. I gotta feed the doggo here. I don't know if he can. She was growling at me before that last restart, but then the caution came out, so I had to come back into my seat here real quick and take over for the meantime. Need to stop counting caution laps on street courses. Getting ripped off 50. I wouldn't go that far. If we didn't count caution laps, this race would never end. That's the way I think of it. Especially when you get into the late going. If we didn't count caution laps from right now, we've only had what, like maybe 2 green flag laps in stage 3. I mean, we would have been stuck at like 19, 18 laps to go for the last 20 minutes or so now with the length of the cautions around this type of racetrack as well.
Tomorrow, here we see it in car series. On fourth word series. Here in the Pottery, everybody involved. It'd be great. Double green drivers, there are 9 of them that will be competing not only today, but also tomorrow. Daniel Suarez, want to thanks to a Chicago company here, Vanderhagen, giving us this view from Daniel Suarez, who will be on track again tomorrow. Suarez, very good on road courses, so we expect a lot out of him tomorrow in the Cup race. Dave, what about the 7 of Allgaier?
Illinois, born and raised, Justin Allgaier had a bad practice earlier today. The car they used then was red. They're using the backup now, which is black. This is what happened. Justin said, that's totally on me. This was my mistake. Then it was compounded when the car number 45 of Alon Day came by and did that. That sent them to the backup car, and so they started at the rear of the field today. They had a strategy going where they could have made their way to the front, but they failed on that. Remember, they came to pit road all by themselves. Spotter Eddie DeHaan had this question for the pit box.
They're fit on 17. They're going to go all the way. Well, and that's why I put the stage. I thought I could have left them out there and hope for all these cautions, but man, you're just on defense. With a backup car, and I just didn't feel confident about it, so I figured here.
So, Steve, Justin is one of the 3 drivers right now in contention for the regular season championship. Pullman deciding on having a good points day, which they had already had when they pitted and put him back to the rear there in their backup car. So sometimes you just got to take what you got.
Yeah, and he said he didn't want to be sitting out there on defense in a backup car. Look, it's already been a tough day. He knows his driver very well. Put him on offense. He's sitting 22nd. But with 9 to go, he could easily gain positions over these next few restarts. So you got to manage the team. And I agree with that point situation. He had a decent run in the stages, and he's just trying to find a way, to get this race behind him.
Steve, premonition there when you said these next few restarts? Do you know that there's going to be more than one restart?
Well, I've seen nothing yet to think we're going to just drop the green and drive 9 laps to the finish, but it could happen.
2x2 once again as we ride along with Toyota on board and the WeatherTech on board. So, Bagman, how about the fans around you?
Oh, Rick, we've got them about 8 deep over here at the corner of turn 6. They're coming, they're going. They've been over, listen to house music and the entertainment behind them. Now they're all huddled up all the way down Columbus Drive, and they've also huddled up at the intersection here at turns 1 and 6. They are getting their money's worth, Rick. They're having a blast here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it has to be so amazing to see cars on Columbus Drive going 140 miles an hour. I mean, I've had some taxi cabs that have gone pretty fast trying to make a good fare, but nothing like what people are seeing here. As we get ready for the restart again, it will be 9 to go, actually 8 after they get the green flag for the restart. So 8 laps of racing. Is that enough for SVG, who's going to restart 5th? That front row is Austin Hill and Jesse Love. Teammates making up row 1. Back up through the gears they go, and onto the front stretch. Love sliding through 12. He makes the move over to block on the 21, but it's the 2 into 1 first.
Mad scramble for second on back. Sheldon Creed in the 18, wanted to stack it 3 wide. He had to back away and let the side-by-side battle between Gibbs and the 19 and Hill on the 21 take place. Here comes Gill. Gibbs, that is, he'll root his way to the inside of Hill.
Austin Hill backsliding here in a challenge for that third spot with Sheldon Creed to his inside as they work through turn 3 and come down into turn number 4. Jesse Love defending inside tight end.
Him at 3, round off Hill on third. Top 2, that's the tail off 5. Gibbs is on a mission right now. He's trying to get the lead away from Jesse Love. Couple of the newest, youngest drivers in all of NASCAR. Here is Gibbs. You're riding on board with him. He'll look to the inside. Fade drivers right. Cut back to the left. Zach coming back. Austin Hill has dropped anchor. That car is not as good as it was earlier. Hang on for 20.
Things are getting even more aggressive, not only in the front, but toward the middle of the pack. You can see doors banging, guys running into each other. It's Paywin the time. Gets tons of pressure on the 19-year-old of Jesse Love. Ty Gibbs, a good road racer. Jesse's got his hands full. Big move right here.
FBG moves to the inside. He's trying to take third away from Sheldon Creed. He's going to do it before they get to turn 12.
And that's what makes the difference. He can pass in non-traditional passing zones. That has allowed him to climb all the way back up into the top 3.
Shane Van Gisbergen across the start-finish line, making his way down to the left-hander. That is turn 1. Shane Van Gisbergen is now back to position number 3. He is trying to catch those 2 cars in front of him in Jesse Love and Ty Gibbs. And Dylan, those 2 do not know what they have in store for him now that SVG's been turned loose.
Well, this must ramp up the intensity for Ty Gibbs because he probably knows that 97 is into the third spot. How aggressive does Ty get? He's looking inside. Love to bend to the right side.
Not going to do anything with it this time. But look at Shane Van Gisbergen. He has to. It's now going to race up. Slub, it's Gibbs, it's Van Gisbergen. This is a 3-car breakaway for the lead. Less than 7 laps to go. Gibbs is going to send it in on the high side. Then he cut over and open up the inside. No, let's see Jesse Love to the hammer, figure and able to protect the lead.
Ty Gibbs blocking right there. Wanting to show Jesse Love the inside and also prevent the 97 of Van Gisbergen from getting alongside him. We're going to get offense, food, and defense at the same time. I swear, SVG made this move the last lap. Let's see if he can do it again.
And Van Gisbergen better make the pass quickly because Sam Mayer is coming and keeping pace with the 97. Mayer was fastest in practice earlier today, so we know he's got speed. This is the first time, though, he has been in the top 5 all day. Jesse Love leads the race by 0.3 of a second over Ty Gibbs in second. Shane Van Gisbergen nearly spins after contact with Sam Mayer back in turn 12. Sheldon Creed ruffles up Mayer after nearly getting squeezed into the wall off the exit of the corner. A little bit of tire rub now in the left front of the one of Mayer. Van Gisbergen holds on to third, but that slight wobble off the exit of the corner has definitely costed him quite a bit of time. Kyle Larson, who's kind of been out of the picture here in the final stage for the race win, is still in contention for the moment, but the caution is out further back. Our 7th yellow of the day. And it looks to be, I think it's turn 1, as the 42 of Leland Honeyman has crashed into the turn 1 barrier. That tire wall has grabbed and ate that car up. A lot of damage to the front of the 42 car as well. So with 6 laps to go, the caution flag is out yet again. Shane Van Gisbergen will get a little bit of a rebound here on this next restart. It looked like the right front tire was already flat for Honeyman before he rolled off into turn 1, and it just wouldn't go. Obviously, he couldn't get the car to slow up or turn. But it definitely looked like the right front tire was down. So the top 5, again, Jesse Love, Ty Gibbs, Shane Van Gisbergen, Sheldon Creed, and Sam Mayer. In that order. But the caution flag is out. for Leland Honeyman getting into the turn one wall. Again, this is the 7th caution of the race today.
There's a nice stop now, junkie 94. So now watch the 18. You can't give up momentum. So he goes back. He tries to defend. I'll give Sheldon Creed credit. He just kind of stayed with the momentum. That's what you have to do on this circuit.
Riding along again with SVG.
That quick. And I think the two leaders were disappointed the yellow came out because you had mentioned it, why he didn't lose a position. 5 or 6 car lengths gave that 19 some breathing room. But I will say, Ty Gibbs, who I don't normally label as a patient driver, is being very patient with Jesse Love because Love is running a lot of the middle of the straightaways, shallow cornerage. Now, he has every right to do that as the lead. There's nothing that says where he has to drive his race car. But if you look at racing etiquette, he is definitely a much more defensive line. And yet, Ty Gibbs, I've seen no real contact with the rear bumper of the two. He's being very patient, which is hard when you have SVG barreling down on you.
Ty Gibbs, so much.
Yeah, not going to have many laps to go in this next restart. We're down to 5 laps to go under the caution right now. So I'd say anywhere between 2 to 3 laps to go and we actually get back to racing and get the tire wall back in place for turn 1. We'll go through the rest of the top 10 in the running order here in a second. Got to get my charger real quick. So that way we got plenty for the race end. So top 10 again, as of this moment, Jesse Love leads, Ty Gibbs is second, Shane Van Gisbergen in third, Sam Mayer fourth, Sheldon Creed in fifth, Parker Kligerman sixth, Kyle Larson seventh, Connor Mosack eighth, Austin Hill has fallen to ninth, and Joey Logano rounds out the top 10. Currently 29 cars on the lead lap. That would count Honeyman, who has quite a bit of damage following his incident just moments ago. Most laps led in this race. Jesse Love has led the most laps by the time we get to this next restart. He's led 12, Kyle Larson's led 12, and Shane Van Gisbergen has led 11. SVG started on the pole. He and Larson have led the most times today, 3 times led for each of them. And SVG won stage 1, while Austin Hill, leading 8 laps, won stage 2 on pit strategy. Second stage win of the year for Van Gisbergen, and the third of the year for Austin Hill when they won their stages. 2 laps led for Sammy Smith as well, which was on a restart to begin stage 3. That last restart. In stage 2, he was able to get to the lead for 2 laps. So those are the 5 drivers to lead at least 1 lap in the race today. 10 lead changes so far total. And have we seen the last is the next question. And we are not going to have many laps to go when we get this next restart. If you're wondering again visually where you can watch this race, it is on NBC. Tomorrow's Cup Series race also on NBC. So your local NBC affiliate is where you can watch. But obviously you can listen and watch live right here on KRC on this YouTube channel. We have live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. So appreciate all you guys tuning in for all of today's events. Cup practice and qualifying earlier this afternoon, this Xfinity race now. And again, NASCAR 07 will be coming in later this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. In about an hour and a half from now, we'll go live there. And that race will be a Busch race at Watkins Glen. Full race, 82 laps. 60 likes on the stream to this point, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We'll take our final ad break of the stream. You're listening live on KRC. For Jane Huddleston, the Duke Boy, return trip. Thanks for tuning in. Some of the people in the chat that I haven't shouted out throughout the course of the stream yet. Mike G as well as saw you earlier. My dog Fulton, thanks for tuning in. Just tuned in. What was the diecast? Diecast showing today. I had Jeff Gordon 2008 DuPont Flame Schemed diecast card tomorrow. This one right here. I thought I put it away already. I did not. This one was our diecast showing today. Classic. Beautiful weather this weekend in Chicago as well. Again, mid to high 70s today. It'll be in the low 80s tomorrow. No rain in the forecast all weekend. Polar opposite from what we saw last weekend. Really polar opposite compared to what we've seen most weekends in NASCAR the last several weeks. Had about an hour and a half rain delay during the Cup race last weekend. The week before that, New Hampshire, we had a rain delay in the middle of it for a couple hours as well. The Coke 600 back in May got rain shortened. And I'm trying to think. Truck race at Gateway had a big rain delay for a few hours too, which was the weekend after the 600. We've only had 1 week not have any sort of rain the last 5 on the NASCAR race weekend. Last 6, actually, because North Wilkesboro had some rain that washed qualifying out for the truck and washed qualifying out for Truck Series, practice out for the Truck Series that weekend, and then, of course, qualifying and practice had a bunch of rain issues there for Cup. So, yeah, a lot of rain in NASCAR. Again, only 1 weekend completely dry from start of the weekend to finish of the weekend for NASCAR in the last 6 weeks. Prior to this weekend, but this weekend all clear, so that's good to see. A return to the norm, or what should be the norm. Still waiting to get this next restart. Again, we're looking at anywhere between 2 to 3 laps to go when we get back to racing, and Jesse Love is the race leader. He does have a win this season. It was at Talladega. To try to get his second career win. Ty Gibbs, who has not won the Xfinity Series yet this season, has led quite a few laps in his part-time role. Shane Van Gisbergen, Sam Mayer, each looking for their 3rd win. If one of those two are to win their 3rd race today, that would be the most wins of any Xfinity Series regular this season. Again, 2 wins apiece for SVG, Sam Mayer. Also 2 wins for Austin Hill and Chandler Smith. 2 wins for John Hunter Nemechek, who's running part-time, of course, with being a Cup regular also. So we technically have 5 drivers who have won 2 races. Several with 1. A mix of part-time drivers like Ryan Truex, Eric Almirola have each won a race. Justin Allgaier with 1 race win on the season as well. Yep, field is doubled up, though. We'll be restarting with 3 laps to go. So 3 laps to go. This will not be overtime. But, again, if a caution comes out on the final lap, the race will end at that point. The point of yellow, in which whoever's out in front, if a caution comes out before that, that will push us into overtime as we'll then go past the scheduled distance. 5 overtimes in the Cup Series race at Nashville last weekend, setting a record in the overtime era of NASCAR for the most. Hopefully we don't see that again. I mean, ever, not just this weekend. All right, Jesse Love on the inside lane for the restart, as we've seen all day long. That probably won't change for the Cup race either tomorrow. Green flag back in the air as the field exits turn 12. Good restart for Love. Ty Gibbs slid out of that outside lane quite a bit, and SVG's already to the outside of him. Racing for turn 1. Love trying to set a quick pace. SVG clear on his corner exit off of turn 1. Really, corner entry he wasn't. Sam Mayer from 4th place goes around. Field scatters around him. Mayer will fall well outside of the top 5. Tail end of the lead lap for him as we stay green. Everybody was able to miss him at that point in time. Shane Van Gisbergen trying to run down the rookie. It's a rookie on a rookie. One more experience on road courses than the other. And can Ty Gibbs from 3rd place have a shot to catch both of them if SVG takes just a little bit too long to get by Love? Because Gibbs is showing more pace than Love. But Gibbs obviously not a good restart. SVG got around him in the first turn. And now looking to get around the 2 car in turn number 6. Started on the outside, went to back the corner up, although Love might have slipped the corner exit so much that SVG had no chance to get back to him. Though in turn 7, he was able to drag race his way, power past Jesse Love, and Ty Gibbs quickly gets by Love for 2nd as well. Love falls from first to third in the span of about a quarter or two. And now the race is on between Shane Van Gisbergen and Ty Gibbs for the race win at the front of the field. Sheldon Creed in fourth place trying to keep up with his former ride of Jesse Love. Love goes wide in turn 11. Creed looking to the inside now as he tries to get that spot. Actually, I don't know what happened to Sheldon Creed. I thought Creed was right behind the 2 car, and I guess he is not. It looks like Kyle Larson. Yeah, something happened to Sheldon Creed off camera there, because he has gone around. There's a little bit of a tire rub on Austin Hill's race car further back in the pack. Sheldon Creed was in fourth, I swear. He was right behind Jesse Love going into turn 11. He's not there anymore. He's fallen well down the leaderboard. I would imagine he probably spun or something of that nature. He's now back at 27th. One spot behind Mayer, who also spun. Kyle Larson gets by Jesse Love for third. He was the only one that was able to keep any sort of pace with Shane Van Gisbergen earlier. But with a lap and a half to go, if we don't get a caution, it's going to be tough for Larson to even get to second place, let alone the race leader. Great run for Kligerman, looking to keep his top 10 streak alive on road courses. He passes Jesse Love, down to fourth place for Parker. Love is free-falling on the restart after being in the lead. Connor Mosack in the 88 for Junior Motorsports, who has been quietly inside the top 10 all day and started up in the top 5, is now looking for 5th. Get that top 5 finish potentially. Van Gisbergen pulling away just over a 1-second lead on Ty Gibbs. That last lap ran was the fastest lap of the day for both the 97, the 19, and the 17. The top 3 of the running order all ran their fastest lap of the day on the second to last lap of the race. White flag is in the air already. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank now. As Shane Van Gisbergen works his way into turn 4. On the final lap of the race, continues to open up his lead over Gibbs. Larson closing on Gibbs, but doesn't seem like he's going to have enough time to get to him. The top 3 pretty far and away, out ahead of the rest of the field. Even a big gap for Kligerman already put over Love. Mosack and Love still battle for that 5th place position, bumper to bumper. It'll be 3 straight road course wins in the Xfinity Series for Shane Van Gisbergen, and after winning the Cup Series race here last season in his debut, he's now going to win the Xfinity race here this year. And how about Shane Van Gisbergen? Most wins in the Xfinity Series this season. Got a stage win earlier today as well. This will give him 17 playoff points. If he puts together some decent performances, he could get out of that first round of the playoffs this year. Especially with the Charlotte Roval being one of the races in that round. Could make a deep playoff run this season in his rookie campaign. The 35-year-old New Zealander is going to go to victory lane at Chicago 2 years in a row. We'll see if he can pull the sweep off tomorrow, but today he is victorious. A 1.2 second margin of victory for Shane Van Gisbergen. Ty Gibbs ends up second, Kyle Larson third, Parker Kligerman fourth, Jesse Love fifth, Connor Mosack sixth, Austin Hill seventh, Joey Logano eighth, Justin Allgaier got back into the top 10 in ninth, and Austin Green, with a great performance, finishes 10th today. Solid run for him. AJ Allmendinger finishes 11th. Josh Williams quietly finishes 12th. Sammy Smith 13th. Kyle Weatherman 14th. Jeb Burton 15th. Ryan Sieg 16th. Brandon Jones 17th. Cole Custer 18th. He had a tough day today. Sam Mayer fell to 19th after restarting 4th. Got in that spin there on the opening lap in turn 1 following that last restart with 3 to go. Brendan Poole finishes 20th. Ryan Ellis 21st. Kyle Sieg 22nd, Matt DiBenedetto 23rd, Blaine Perkins 24th, John Hunter Nemechek 25th. Sheldon Creed also in the top 5 there in that last restart, right around turn 11 must have went for a spin. He falls back to 26th in the finishing order, and Daniel Suarez finishes 27th, last car in the lead lap. Riley Herbst 3 laps down in 28th, Alex LeMay 5 laps down in 29th. 30th for Anthony Alfredo, 6 laps down for Leland Honeyman in 31st. Preston Pardis 12 laps down 32nd, Sage Karam 33rd. Parker Rutzlaff 34th, Andre Castro 35th, Josh Bilicki 36th, Jeremy Clements 37th, and Chandler Smith 38th. Everybody from Pardis on back in the running order. Actually, Brendan Poole, or sorry, not Brendan Poole, the 42 of Leland Honeyman. Honeyman was the first of those that DNF, so we actually had 8 DNFs today in this race. 7 cautions, 5 for incident, 2 of them in the final stage, 3 cautions for incident in the final stage, 1 caution for incident in stages 1 and 2, and then the 2 stage breaks as well. 3 straight road course wins for Shane Van Gisbergen. 57.43 mile per hour average race speed today as well. Most laps led, tie for the most laps led, in fact. 14 for the pole sitter Van Gisbergen, 14 for Jesse Love, 12 for Kyle Larson today, who led 3 different times. SVG led the most times, 4 different times he led in this race. 8 laps led as well for the Stage 2 winner, Austin Hill. Shane Van Gisbergen, as I already mentioned, also won Stage 1. And 2 laps led for Sammy Smith, so 5 drivers total led at least 1 lap in the race. And we are credited with 12 lead changes in today's race, along with the 5 different drivers to lead. Pretty good race. Great battle between Larson and Van Gisbergen early on. I wish we could have saw more of that in the second half, but Larson just couldn't quite get through traffic as good or as quickly as SVG. That's where he was able to pull away after they were both on the alternating strategy. But Van Gisbergen definitely the class of the second half of this race. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Once again, be sure to hit that like button on your way out. You'll get to listen to an interview from some of the top finishers in today's race. Subscribe if you are new for more NASCAR content as well. Live streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. Here's your race winner, SVG.
Columbus. Van Gisbergen will climb into the car. His crew is there to greet him.
Things involved in the Shane Van Gisbergen victory celebration. We've seen it build throughout this year. 2 wins already. He's got rugby balls to worry about. He now may have a football to worry about. First of all, worry about the guys that got in there, including Justin Marks from Trackhouse Racing. And as is his custom, around to everyone, because they all had a big part in what happened here this afternoon. Watching him behind the wheel was spectacular. You rode with him. We had the camera on board. We could see everything but the footwork, which was still a closely guarded secret. Like, congratulating his driver. And here, everybody's here. And yeah, why not? Let's continue. Shane, sign it. And then I just need to know which direction you're going to kick. You want to do the sweets, or are you going to get these folks out here? Here he goes. Nice. I think the front straightaway makes a pretty good pitch, don't you?
Oh, that's awesome. What a great race. It was pretty wild there at the end, and I can't thank Bullock Racing guys enough. WeatherTech Camaro was amazing, and great race at the start with Kyle. He was really good on the restarts, and we made our car better for the second set of tyres, but that was fun at the end, passing all those guys. Had some great racing with everyone.
Let's start with the Kyle Larson and you battle. That looked fun to us. What's that like behind the wheel?
It's cool. We're waving at each other, thumbs up, and really respectful, but big moves. He was amazing on the brakes and on the bumps, so really cool. Learned a lot. He probably learned a lot off me, but yeah, hope to race him again for the win tomorrow.
All right, do you officially own this town now?
No, of course not, but it's a privilege to race here. This event is amazing, what NASCAR has done, so yeah, what NASCAR's done here, it's what a show, so pretty cool feelings. Hopefully we can repeat tomorrow.
Congratulations. Very humble. He is super fun to watch. What a privilege to be here, Rick.
His dad and his sister are also here in Chicago to watch his performance. And what a performance it was again. Shane Van Gisbergen after starting up.
Well, 2 years in a row, he's gotten a victory lane in Chicago. We'll see if he can do it 2 years in a row, though, in the Cup race tomorrow. It'll be his 4th Cup Series start of the season. 3rd Cup Series start of the season, excuse me. It'll be his 2nd on a road course. He did not run at Sonoma on the last road course race, but he did race at Coda earlier this year, had a solid run, top 10 all day there. And then he also ran the Coca-Cola 600 back in May also, which was rain shortened. I can't remember exactly where he finished in that one, but it was his Cup debut on an oval at least. And now he is going to be making that 3rd start of the year tomorrow. Be only his 5th career Cup start. He's got a chance to get 2 wins and 5 career starts in the Cup Series. That would just be insane. He won in his first, so it wouldn't be as surprising as that, I guess. So congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen on his win. Once again, a reminder, we will go live for a little NASCAR 07 content later tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard start time. 7 p.m. Eastern time, we'll go live for that. It'll be a Busch Series race at Watkins Glen. We've been sliding in points if you haven't watched any of that content throughout the course of last week, so update on that when that time comes. As far as the race tomorrow, we will go live at 4 p.m. Eastern time for tomorrow's race, as that will be 75 laps in length for the Cup Series. Finish under a regulation length of 50 laps in this one, which was the scheduled distance. 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 45 seconds total time to get through this one as well today. Relatively short race with the 7 cautions. Again, series leading 3rd win of the year for Shane Van Gisbergen on the Xfinity Series side of things. Cole Custer well above that cutoff line on points. He's plus 225 after today's race. Riley Herbst plus 91. Plus 90 for A.J. Allmendinger. Plus 73 for Sheldon Creed. 63 points to the good is Parker Kligerman after finishing 4th. It's Sammy Smith increases his gap over Ryan Sieg for that final playoff spot as of right now. He came in plus 11. He leaves plus 23. Stage points for Sammy Smith and a 13th place run compared to no stage points and a 16th place finish for Sieg. So Sieg minus 23 points. Brandon Jones is minus 67. Anthony Alfredo minus 85. Brendan Poole minus 129. Those are all the drivers right on the bubble of the Xfinity Series playoff field. Here is Kyle Larson after a 3rd place finish.
Now Kim is live.
Gave SVG a run for his money. So cool to watch you guys at the beginning. Then both of you worked through traffic. Ultimately, you come home 3rd. How would you summarize your day, though? How much fun did you have out there?
Yeah, I was having a blast there. Really, he was obviously way faster than me, and was just, I think he was having fun just playing with me. So it was just, I wanted to use this race to learn, and I wanted to take the first opportunity I got to battle him. Just, we were going to give each other space because it was early on, but you just never know, when the race plays out, if I'm going to have a chance to battle him and learn racecraft stuff. So that was big on my agenda, and I felt like I learned quite a bit, battling him and, creating different angles and all that. So I think today was a success. Obviously, we would like to win, but our car just wasn't quite as good as his. He could just exit like turn 5 just way smoother than me. I just was bouncing so aggressively I couldn't accelerate. And then same through like turn 9, I just couldn't carry the speed that he could. If I carried just a little bit too much, which was never even close to how much speed he was turning or pulling through there, I would just shear and get loose. So and that kind of carries all the way to 11. So yeah, it was a fun race. So even through the restarts in the beginning of the 3rd stage was cool. So thanks to Hendrick Motorsports and HendrickCars.com for letting me come play in the Xfinity Series this year. I had a good time in the 2 races I got to run. So definitely benefited me, and I feel like it helps for the Cup stuff.
You said it helps. You said you learned a lot. Enough lessons to pull off a win tomorrow, especially starting from the pole?
I think my car is much more competitively matched to his car for tomorrow. So in others too, I think my car's really good. I feel like in 5 and in 9 all the way to 11. So that gives me confidence for tomorrow. So but it's Cup races are really, really hard. There's way more good cars, way more good drivers. A lot of drivers with great racecraft. So
It's tough, but I like my chances for tomorrow to at least have another good run, and we'll see.
We'll see what Kyle Larson has tomorrow, Dave.
Ty Gibbs, very, very close to victory today in his number 19. Close was it? Because obviously the 97 was pretty darn good and hard to catch.
Yeah, we had a bad pit stop that one time and got behind, and and that hurt us. We had a gun blowout, so nobody's fault. That's part of it, and we just got behind and had to use I feel like a good bit of my stuff to get back all the way to the front, and then I just was too loose. We kind of loose the whole time, so it was just as hard there at the end. The top restarts are really hard because it's super dirty up there, so you're just up in the fuzz the whole time off of 12. So I don't know what I could have done different there. Just needed to be a little bit better, a little tighter. Felt like we were pretty solid all day. Maybe he gets us Monster Energy, Interstate Batteries, and everybody. It was a good run. We'll wait till the next one.
We were a little confused when Cole tried to go by you. Did you have a problem, or did you have a problem with Cole? We couldn't figure it out.
I just was taking a break up there. I was going slow.
What?
No, I was in first gear. I was in the wrong gear, so it's a little embarrassing, but I think we finally got back around them. So.
A note for tomorrow then.
Yep.
We'll get it tomorrow, guys. Wow, there we go. Hey, he promised me he would do that.
Well, Dave, earlier Jake Parker told us he just wants to go faster. You did that today. Best finish of the year in fourth. How much did this team have to overcome starting from the back?
Oh, a lot. We somehow got to the 10th on stage 1 and literally made that pass in turn 11 on the 8 last lap. So that was pretty impressive. Great effort by this Big Machine Racing team to change a motor. It's not easy to do, and have this thing out there and ready to go and be fast as it was. Stage car, thought we had top 5 speed, and at the end, it was elbows out, anarchy. I cannot explain to you, Kim, the absolute chaos that is stock cars on street courses with 5 to go or something. There's cars hitting every wall. There's stuff flying everywhere. Cars run into each other. It's just insane. Our car was as fast as Xfinity Internet, which was wonderful. I do have to say that I think when the 18, Sheldon Creed, I know he's really angry at us because he spun off my nose there after 11. I was there. He was kind of going to the right of the 2, but didn't realize I was there. And I think when he watched it back, he will see that, he spun himself across our nose. He and I drove through the field together. We ran around each other all day. He made a lot of holes by hitting a lot of people, which was really helpful for me. But, I think he just tried one move too many there at the end. So, I look at this scoreboard, and I see Larson, greatest driver in the world. Gibbs, cup level driver, and Vin Gisborne, the greatest stock car road racer in the world, and then me. So I got a little work to do, but I feel like if we keep having finishes like this, we might get one of those W's.
Take a shower and get ready. We're going to see Parker tomorrow all over the course, Dave.
Jesse Love was the greatest 19-year-old on track today and finished 5th. And you had him there near the end, but you knew it was going to get crazy. What was it like trying to hold everybody off?
First off, sorry to the 18. That was a bummer that ended his day. I got, obviously pretty sideways there. I tried to hang on to it, but first off, I want to give all the glory to God and thank everybody on this number 2 walk car today. C4 was getting me through it. I was kind of in a predicament because they were a little bit better than I was, and I knew that. And under cautions, I'm just like, what's the next task at hand that I can at least execute on? And then go from there. And that was get the greatest restart known to man and hang on. Brent Cruz taught me this thing at GoPro and he would do it to me on the go-kart. I'd go to pass him and he'd block super low, park it on the bottom, and then wait for me to hit him and then he'd jump off the corner. And I was trying to do that to Ty because I knew our drive off was really good. I just couldn't get in the corner quite as good as they could today. And once I think I started to spin the tires more and more throughout the race, I started loosening my forward drive. And once I did that, I think I kind of lost my ability to get back away from him. So that was obviously, I think, what kind of did us in. And with the pass on SVG, I was in a spot where he watched me block Ty after quite a few laps. And I knew what I was doing was working out in the moment, but it might come back to get me. And obviously, when it was time to go, those blocks, people weren't going to take it anymore. And that's no dig on anybody. They were more than fair today. And I was just doing all I could, and they were doing all they could. So hats off to SVG, bringing the trophy back home to welcome is obviously good for all of our team morale and everything. And just proud of everybody on this walk car and Wheeling Aerospace Technologies. Good run for us. We've been actually really good on the road courses this year, just haven't really put together a full day. So it was good to do that today.
Another great run for Jesse, Marty, and he's impressed again.
Appreciate the work today, Dave. DJ, I need to unpack all that happened on that last restart. Let's start with this.
So I'll jump to live here, see if there was any other interviews before we go off the air. You'll get to listen to them. If there was, Looks like they're cutting a commercial right now, and they're probably going off the air at 6 p.m. Eastern Time as well. So I'll see you in about another hour for a triple header NASCAR 07 tonight. Again, congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen for winning the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Chicago. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern NASCAR 07 Watkins Glen Busch race. And don't want to miss tomorrow's live commentary stream as well. We will be going live at 4 p.m. Eastern for a NASCAR Cup Series coverage, also with the Chicago Street Race. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your Saturday evening.